What is going on, everybody? It's episode 443 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I have a group of friends here once again to help me today. Directly in front of me, sitting where Mary would usually sit. Introduce yourself, please.
Hola, bienvenido a Pop Culture Crisis. Soy Sara.
That was good.
Thank you.
That was good. That was.
I plead the fifth.
She's saying this because we were talking about how I took 2 years of sign language before, in high school, and don't remember any of it because they did me the dirty by making it first period when I got home very, very late from skating every night. I didn't make it through many of those classes awake, so
the system
I don't
is broken.
remember. It is. It's the school's fault. It's not mine. To my left, introduce yourself, please.
Hello, I'm Cara. I take care of your emails. The emails are down right now, though. So,
So you don't take care of them right now.
I don't take care of them
Which
at
is
the
why
moment.
she's here.
Yes,
there you
that's
go.
why I'm
It
here.
worked out.
And to my right, introduce yourself, sir.
Hello, my name is Labonte. I'm the lead singer of All That Remains. I'm an anti-communist and a counter-revolutionary, and I was not here last night. I was bummed about it.
Super bummed.
Hype me up.
I saw
Good
some
Lord.
tweets that were a little spicy.
I blew it.
You were
I blew it.
a little spicy. Did you know the person ahead of time?
No.
You didn't know who they were. So you're like, man, this is literally my moment, and I'm not here.
Yeah, I mean, I came
happened?
in to do IRL, and I'd messed up my schedule because of the holiday on Monday.
Right.
And I was thinking that there was the trip coming up, and essentially I just got all discombobulated, and I asked if we could change, and so normally I'm on Tuesday, Wednesday. I do PCC on Thursday, and Friday I do IRL because I messed it up. Olivia Claire was there, and Ian was there.
I think you mean
and
Hannah
so-
Claire.
Okay,
Yeah,
I was
that's what I mean. Yeah, no, Hannah Claire. Yeah, I just looked at.
Yeah,
the thing. Anyway, Hannah Claire. Yes, it's the same second name. My bad.
He's
It's the
halfway
same
there.
thing.
No, it's not the same thing. I know I messed up. I'm clear about that. I'm not trying to smooth it over.
But you weren't there.
Discombobulated, and I wasn't there. And then I'm driving home, and I hear this guy say, "Yeah, I thought the Soviet Union was pretty base," and I almost killed myself.
Yeah, he was telling me last night how he loves Russia, and I told him I'm Iranian. He was like, okay, yeah, he was about it. I was like, not a lot of people know about Iranian history.
He called you can't think that the Soviet Union was a net positive. Like they killed millions, just millions of Ukrainians, just the Holodomor alone. That was because of Stalin. Like it is unacceptable to say that I think that the USSR was based. That's like saying I think that Hitler was right. That is the
It was a
same
missed
exact
opportunity.
stupid, insane crap. It's the same garbage.
Yeah.
So
He's anti-commie, if you guys didn't know that.
I'm extremely anti. I'm extremely anti-Nazi. I'm extremely anti-authoritarian.
As you should be.
So
Yes,
that's
we
the way
need
it
you.
goes.
We got a bunch of stuff to talk about today, ladies and gentlemen. Not about commies.
Not
so
commies.
Technically, I mean, we're
Well,
talking about Hollywood, so there's commies in there anyway.
There you
So
Thank you. I didn't even have to say it.
It is what it is. It's Red Hollywood, right? So we're going to be
That's right.
talking about how The Rock and Oprah, speaking of socialist tendencies, they donated $10 million together to Maui, and then they asked you, the citizens, to also donate, and people were pissed. I find it interesting because I believe a lot of this has to do with the audience you court. It has to do with what type of famous are you? Are you famous in the traditional sense? Are you famous in what we have here in the conservative sense? I feel that if you were courting different audiences, you'd get a different response here. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about Breaking Bad star Aaron Paul being the most recent person to contribute to the writers-actor strike propaganda by talking about how he's not getting residuals for Breaking Bad when it's on Netflix. Now every actor, they're literally reaching out to every actor that's ever been in anything ever, and they're like, so tell us about the bad money you didn't make, so that they can write articles about it, because they are trying to put subtle pressure on the studios through the media to get them to sign. These writers are doing that. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about Warner Records signing their first artificially intelligent pop star. An AI pop star has been signed by a record label. It's this person /thing/it is also an influencer with their very own likes, wants, needs, long walks on the beach, all that type of stuff. We truly are living in a crazy time to be alive. We are also going to talk about a story that I wasn't even sure I wanted to cover initially because it's so scary and sad and depressing, but I do think it's important too, so we're going to do it last. It's about a former family YouTuber named Ruby Frank, who has been arrested and charged with 6 counts of felony abuse of children. she was known for running a YouTube channel based around family content. Her and her husband had a YouTube channel called 8 Passengers, her husband, and their 6 kids. And when you see this story, it shows you the dark side of the internet and just how much monstrous behavior can come from fame and how we as a society tend to perpetuate it. So we're going to get into all that. We got a bunch of other stuff. So if everybody here is ready, we will get right into it. Cara, are you ready?
So ready.
Sarah, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Phil, are you ready?
Let's go!
Exactly. All right. So first things first, I got a couple of quick announcements. One is going to make some people a little bit sad if you're a Marvel fan. It looks like Daredevil Born Again has been put indefinitely on hiatus because of the strike. Basically, right now, they were in the process of shooting, and because they can't shoot anything right now, they've had to put it on hold, and it's been removed from their release calendar. So I read somewhere earlier that Warner Brothers, which is obviously, that's not Disney, but it's Warner Brothers, so it's anecdotal, is going to suffer like $300 to $500 million in losses just from this year's strike. And it just shows you the pressure that's being put on these people. Mm-hmm. But when you think about all the money they lose every year on these movies that nobody goes to, it kind of puts it into perspective that they're actually might not even be losing as much as you think. So it's been pulled off the schedule. I wasn't particularly interested in this because we all know that there's no way that they would be able to actually recapture the magic that came from the Daredevil series on Netflix, which was extremely violent. It was extremely dark. And Disney will do everything in its power to, Disneyfy it, which means essentially ruin it for everybody else by making it lame. So just a heads up on that. They are still looking to reschedule Agatha, Covenant of Chaos, and I believe Loki 2 had trailers come out recently. But also, guys, this isn't a trailer, but there is a movie coming out. If you liked Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, they're making Mary Had a Little Lamb turns nursery rhyme into a slasher movie.
Too bad Mary's not here for this.
Yeah.
She would love this, right? Look, we mentioned the other day, like, we went to see Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, and like we felt like sociopaths because we were laughing the whole time and nobody else was laughing because it's ridiculous. It's a guy in a Winnie the Pooh mask going around and they're acting like it's a real bear.
Yeah. If they don't get it, they're not artsy enough.
Exactly.
They don't get why it's funny.
Exactly. So if you look at the picture here, assuming that that's Mary, I hope she survives. I do. I do.
Why is that?
I can spot 2 reasons why. It says president of Uncorked Entertainment Keith Leopard calls it campy and fun with terrific special and visual effects. That is one way they could fix things.
That's the point of slasher movies. They're supposed. I mean, I know it's like some of them are a little more serious than others, but the whole point of like slasher movies is to be like a little scary and fun. Like
it's why Scream was so
cheesy.
good. It's why Scream was so good because it perfectly encapsulated all the fun elements while also being satirical and
you know
meta.
what? I think that part of the and that's part of the reason why as like slasher films kind of got their start in like the 70s, right, or so, and then as the 80s came, if you watch the progression of the earlier slasher films as to the later slasher films in the 80s, they kind of got more silly and campy. Jason goes to space because like they become these kind of like there's comedy built into it.
I think my favorite one is the one in Jason Takes Manhattan, where like the dude just shadow boxes and gives him body blows for like 3 minutes on the roof of a building, and Jason just goes whack and knocks the guy's head off. That's awesome. It's incredible. Like you can watch the clip on YouTube, and there's these great like mashups people do where they add funny sound effects. Yeah. And it hits the ground. It's that poor guy though, right? Also, I was talking to someone the other day about the trope of like they talk about black people dying first in horror movies, and somebody did like a deep dive where they say that's actually not. It's like a trope that doesn't exist for a reason. It's not a real thing. But my favorite outcome of that is in the second Scream movie. There's a character. I believe his name's Joel, but I can't remember. I think it's Joel, and he's Courtney Cox's character. He's her cameraman, right? He's Gail's cameraman, and like people start dying around him. He's like, I'm just leaving. And he just leaves and comes back at the end of the movie after they get him. He's the smartest guy in the history of horror. He just leaves town. Like, that's incredible. Like, he exhibited more intelligence than just about any, big titty blonde chick who runs up the stairs rather than down.
He literally beat the game.
He beat the game. It was incredible. Like,
cheat code.
He also comes back and he's like, I thought we'd get the scoop like in the old days, even though they'd only known each other for like 2 days. Like the old days. Also, that movie bummed me out because they killed off Jamie Kennedy's character, and like, also I still want Jamie Kennedy to come on this podcast because he's apparently
Love
pretty
that.
based.
Yeah.
Well, it's good
be
that
cool.
you said that it bummed you
But,
out. that
Should have
back,
done.
back to what
Kinda
you were
crazy.
saying though, like about the movies from the 70s. We were just watching a trailer. Oh, about that movie that we're gonna talk about later today. So maybe we should save it. But we were saying how like a lot of horror movies have to be based in the 70s and 80s before everybody had cell phones and like could easily communicate, because otherwise like it's too easy to solve the entire plot within 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yo, Tommy just got stabbed. I'm getting the hell out of here.
Exactly.
Texting, you know.
You know how they do it now? You know how they do it now? They do it with the kids who they don't have a phone plan. They only have Wi-Fi, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Damn it, I'm outside. I can't call anyone. No, because your phone will still call 911.
It would just everywhere would be no service.
Yeah.
Your
It'd be
phone will still call 911. Yeah,
It's too easy.
I mean, it was the same thing when they brought the X-Files back. It's like, oh my God, a spaceship. Doink. The movie's over. But all they have to do is like, it literally takes a writer of no level of intelligence. Like the spaceship had a force field that blocked them from camp. Like anybody could do that.
could
But
still
it's
do it.
But how
it is fun.
scary would the Blair Witch Project really be if they had like lit up cell phones and they're
Had
like,
Starfield.
the whole thing, you know?
Exactly.
People were talking about, because the Blair Witch Project was filmed out here in this area, right? And they were talking about the fact that they're like, I can't believe people thought that this was, because younger people don't understand that found footage wasn't really a thing in the mainstream at that point. And I had to explain to them, I'm like, you do understand that like people used to think pro wrestling was real? Like, that's not a dig. That's saying like there was a time where you literally thought that this was all real and that Stone Cold Steve Austin was like going to run Vince McMahon over with a Zamboni because he was a rebel, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't ask yourself like, why don't they just fire him?
People think the Kardashians and the Real Housewives are real.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you've ever seen like those behind the scenes things of like just how much work goes into making that stuff look not good. Basically, like it's like it looks kind of simplistic, but it takes a lot of work to make it look like the right type of simplistic. So,
Yeah, I mean, I forget. Someone just asked me the other day. I'd taken a picture with my. There was a little video from the show in LA last Sunday, and my buddy back home was like, "Who took that?" And he's like, "Whoa, what kind of camera was that?" I was like, "He took it with the iPhone, and it looks awesome, and it's just literally my iPhone." He was thinking that it was some kind of 4K camera.
Well, now like they do a lot of like you can do a lot of work in post production to ramp up the quality, the color, the color grading
color
and stuff
correction
like
stuff,
that. So it's like it's still like when people like you see like I don't know if you follow a lot of accounts that are just photography pages, but a lot of post work goes into making those.
Yeah.
I myself am a fan of pictures of autumn. Of this time of year, and it's always like the most unrealistically orange planet you've ever seen in your entire life. Every leaf.
And they're like,
is
no
just
editing.
Yeah,
Yeah, no filter.
it's just the way it is.
No filter.
All right, guys. Also, we got a trailer here. I'm thinking we can watch it. I don't know if we'll get copyright. We'll probably get copyright, but I'll clip this out afterwards. But this is a trailer for a movie called No One Will Save You, and it's coming to Hulu on September 22nd. It looks good. It's got Caitlin Dever in it. If you ever watched the show Justified, she had a very, very strong arc in Justified when she was just a teenager. And it's weird. I watch this trailer. She looks old and young at the same time. So let's watch it here.
She looks old and young at the same
She
time.
does.
How old is she?
I believe you.
She's like 26.
Okay.
I think. Thank you.
For a second, I thought that was Abby Shapiro. Just real quick.
I love the rotary phone.
Yes.
I love it. I love it.
Super old.
Doesn't she? She looks old and young at the same time.
Half the chat's like, "What is a rotary phone?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying about the old Yellow.
Yeah.
If only she had a gun, this would have been this.
I was just thinking that. She pulls out the box cutter.
Yeah.
But this is about alien invasion, alien home invasion.
Okay.
Alien home.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like, I think this one probably could have done a studio release. It feels like A24 has taken up most of those, like...
Hey, we got a $20 super chat.
niche...
Nice.
yeah.
Oh.
Do you want to go ahead and read that one?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, there's 3.
The $20 one from That Stanzatastic.
Wait, since Mary isn't here, does that mean we get to talk about anime in Richmond, north of Richmond, without being shunned? Did we want to get Phil's take on the Starfield stuff from yesterday? Also, Borax, so good. No to the first
nice.
thing.
That's Pinky Doll thing, right? The
Yeah.
borax. So
Well, no, there was people drinking borax.
Oh, okay, okay.
They were taking borax, saying that it fixed inflammation. And I was just like, this is the world we live in.
that it didn't fix any
No, it does not.
inflammation at all.
So, but did you guys? I mean, you were here yesterday, but did you see the Maestro Zikos video? Donald Trump singing "Richmond, North of Richmond."
No.
It's we watched it yesterday. I won't make everyone watch it again, but you should watch it. It's amazing.
Better
It's
than
like,
the
it turns
original.
it into a pop song. And it's amazing. It's a
Great.
bop.
Nice.
You should do like a
It's bop.
screamo cover of that, Phil.
Yes.
Yeah.
That'd be dope.
That would be fantastic. Like, and then see if you can collab with him on it. So, trailer looks fine. Like, it's one of those things where horror is not my genre, but I will probably watch this just because it's not in the theater. But anything that fuses horror, alien, and stuff like that is at least worth noting, because it feels like these types of movies, if you're looking to make money, now streaming isn't the way to do it, but if you're looking to make money, what you need to be doing is releasing those low budget horror movies, because they always make their money back and more. Like they spend a lot of times these movies cost like $20 million.
That's because
Set the bar
red
low.
dye and Caro syrup is cheap, man.
Yes, exactly.
That's the kind of like, and nowadays they can do stuff in post production too. So you got like half of the red dye, and that's it. You know.
One of the things that really bummed me out is when I found out that, like, when they brought the Scream franchise back, 2 Scream references one day, like they got rid of the retractable knife and went to CGI, and I was like, oh.
There's another $25.
There's a $20 one there from Get123.
You can like or dislike Starfield for whatever reason you want, but threats against people with opposing opinions is not acceptable. Gaming is supposed to be fun, and people need to chill out.
Threatening people should never be acceptable.
Yeah, I
Was
agree.
that happening? Like,
I didn't see
we
anyone be
talked
threatened.
yesterday about
Online.
Yes.
Threatening people online.
Yeah,
There are
online.
times where you're in someone's presence and threats are appropriate.
There was
True, yeah.
Did you see the video of Az from Heel versus Babyface ranting about it? Because
No.
so basically, like, he went on this very, very, like, epic rant about how, like, you just can't escape modern identity politics in any of the entertainment we're in these days.
Yeah. I mean, it's true.
And how the people are in a bubble and that they don't realize that they're kind of creatively bankrupt now in a lot of ways. Like, they don't know how to create things outside of their life experience.
Yeah.
I've given the example before that, who is it? Christopher Priest was a comic book writer who used to do he did runs for all sorts of characters. He did Daredevil, he did Punisher, I believe. But then, like, because he was black, they started only giving him black characters to write, and he just left for a long. He came back later. I think he did a thing with Vampirella when they brought Vampirella back. I could be wrong about that, but he basically says, like, look, it's my job to be creative. It's my job to create a world. It's not my job to just write what I know. Otherwise, I would just write an autobiography, basically. Why would I want to do this and just write what I understand? But that's the pitfalls of being in a world run by people who really, really hold tight to the idea of identity politics. You have to stay in your lane. You're not allowed to in any way go outside your life experience, because you could be insulting someone by doing that. So it's a bummer that's the
restrictive than it is progressive.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. All right, guys, let us move on, shall we? So this is very sad news. Whoopi Goldberg's got COVID. Wah, wah, wah.
What's the sad part?
ambulance?
What's the sad part?
The sad part is what I believe is, like, what we're starting to see now is that now it's just like with Tom Hanks when he got it in 2019. This is how they start rolling out the control again. Oh, look at this person I know. They've got COVID. Oh my gosh, I am so scared. I am so worried for my future.
A celebrity got it.
If a celebrity can get it, it can happen to anyone. So that's what's going to happen. And then they're going to be like, here, how about those mask mandates? Do you want to put masks back on your children at school? Do you want to go and I was thinking about the other day, it's like the worst part will be like, if I have to go to the grocery store and have some lady telling me that I need a mask to buy food, I'm going to be very, very annoyed. Right? And, there's another one there from Get123.
Let's see. It says, AZ and another streamer called Nina Infinity were threatened online for sharing their dislike on Starfield pronoun choices. Others were also accused of pushing the woke agenda for simply enjoying the game.
Who's AZ, I wonder?
It's Az is the guy who he's Heel versus Babyface is his channel.
Oh, okay,
he's the one who went on the rant.
All right. Okay, because I know who Nina Infinity is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So yeah, like, and here's the thing: those, like, whether we're talking like Az from Heel versus Babyface, the dudes from Geeks and Gamers, they have large audiences, and the people that are into that ideology in their games and stuff, they find them to be very threatening because they command large audiences, both social media and on platform here, and they reach a lot of people. I used to watch all their I mean, I don't really have time to watch a lot of it these days because I'm busy with
Making
work,
your own.
and I worry sometimes, like, I don't want their opinions I want my opinions to be my own, so I'd like to, like, say my piece on topics before I go watch any content from somebody who's covering the same stuff as us. But it's like they reach a lot of people. They reach someone like me who doesn't game, loves movies, but isn't what I would consider, a lot of they call it nerd culture, but I don't consider myself that. But they reached a lot of people because they illustrate the power of fandom and how much that's being ignored by major studios, both in gaming and in movies and in comic books and stuff like that. So they get attacked very regularly for having those hot takes online. And a lot of that does lead to awful threats. Look what happened with Eric D. July has the most insane detractors I have ever seen in my entire life.
Does he get a lot of threats?
I don't know if he gets threats. The people that don't like him are insane.
Yes,
they're bonkers.
They are, and to be honest with you, there's a couple dudes that, like, I'm a little familiar with that are kind of have, like, really gone after him that I really don't like, and I don't like the way they're doing it. And I was nice to those guys, and I've kind of distanced myself. But, like, someone like Eric July doesn't strike me as the kind of person that would receive a lot of threats of physical violence, just because I feel like people that are, someone like Eric. And this could be just because of my experience. Like, I don't get a lot of threats of physical violence, and I'm not like some big tough guy or whatever, but I feel like there are certain people that would get threats of physical violence, and there are people that wouldn't, and it depends on how you portray yourself. People just don't. I feel like it's a bad idea to threaten Eric because I don't feel like there's a lot of people that are going to follow through. Eric's a big fucking dude. Pardon my French, sorry. But he's a big boy, like... You're playing with fire if you're threatening him, and he's got guns. Yep. So,
Oof, yeah.
Like,
Very libertarian.
Yeah, I mean,
all right, they want us to play the clip, so we'll play the clip for you guys. It was quite an incredible. We watched this yesterday, but we'll watch it again.
I just want to say something to you, Bethesda. Just want to say a little.
Oh, by the way, language.
There is nothing.
Language check here. If you've got kids in the room, just a heads up.
I love more. Taking my headphones off. Fuck that. Bethesda. There is nothing I love more than to sit down, comfy chair, turn on my PC, fire up a brand new RPG, lose myself, think, oh my God, just think of this world, just think of all the planets I can visit, all the immersive things that I can get involved with, all the fights, all the relationships, all the people I meet, all the places I go. I'm so excited to go there. And I love nothing more than, with all of that laid out in front of me, I love nothing more than to be dragged out at every fucking conceivable opportunity so you can fucking current day us. Sorry, did you want to get immersed in our world? Yeah, well, guess what? Fucking pronouns! Fucking gender ambiguity! Fucking current day Californian shit! Because that's all we fucking know! Because we're boring! We're so fucking boring!
I love that. Oh my gosh.
this is, obviously,
Speak for us.
What is this game about?
We can't
Penises
see
and vaginas,
past our
obviously.
own fucking reflection.
That's what it's about. That's what everything's about nowadays.
Narcissism here.
Everything's about
Bethesda
penises and
Western
vaginas.
Game Company.
Girl penises and male vaginas.
Fuck your
That's the way.
immersion. Fuck you having a good time. Fuck you falling into a world and just getting lost. No, no, no! Current fucking day! Fuck off! You're boring! You're fucking dull! You have nothing to say! You are a one-hived mind twat waffle!
Mary's right. That
That's all
only
you
works in
fucking are.
Yeah,
British
yeah.
syntax.
Twat waffle.
And you wonder why people are getting so fucking sick and tired! You take everything we love, all our emotions, all our fantasies, all our escapism, and you just can't help shovel your dog shit, fucking crap ideology into everything! Every single solitary fucking thing!
So, how long does he go for?
He goes
Almost-
for a while.
He's fuming.
Yep.
He's upset.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
not happy
Upset.
with that. So yeah.
I mean, I get it. Like, I get why he's like worked up, but like getting worked up like that doesn't help. And the
Right.
thing is, I saw a lot of people reacting to this, and a lot of the people are saying, "Oh, well, you know, these games have always had this kind of stuff. It's you can always customize your character, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera." And that's all true. But the reason people notice the gender stuff is because of the way that society is now and the culture war is now.
Yeah.
If you like when GTA came out, like you could make your character as weird as you want. I don't think you could make it into a female or a male, but you could make it as weird as you want, and people would get all buck wild clown hair,
Yeah.
and like people would make him eat a lot so that he was a big old fatty, or you could go lift and stuff. So you've always been able to customize.
Yeah.
But the gender stuff is current day. Whether or not there's been customization like that, the gender stuff does, really ring of culture war stuff now. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is like you've peeked behind the curtain now, and you know that the people who work at these studios don't like you.
Yeah.
You know that the people who work and Rick C in the chat, I know he's gonna come. Rick C in the chat's gonna come in and say then don't buy their stuff, and they're not wrong. They're not wrong. Like we go see a lot of movies from studios and actors that we know wouldn't like us, I guess, but it's part of the job. But I've become fairly decent at separating art from artist. It's a lot harder, I think, for people with these immersive games because it's just when a movie's done in 2 hours, your movie's done, right? But you invest a hell of a lot more time into gameplay.
Right.
So-
Initially, I was like, why are you getting so worked up over a video game?
No, I
But
get it.
It's literally his career.
Yep.
And someone asked me the other day, like, when's the last time I voted? And I was like, I haven't voted in 10 years. And it's because I understand. we can talk later. But my thing is, like, none of these debates, like, things that people are talking about, really, I feel like are the important topics. It always just feels like the gender issue and the abortion issue that they keep bringing back up once every few years are all just a distraction and very surface level issues that they know people can and will get worked up over, instead of getting worked up over ongoing issues that are a lot more important, in my opinion. Not that this is not important. It is.
It's
I
a
get
proxy
it.
war
Like,
in a lot of ways. It's a proxy
yeah,
war
that's a
for
great
bigger
way to
issues.
put it.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a $20 one there from Trav Daddy.
I'm glad that you said that. Yes. The trans character is a clone of a commander/war criminal who was turned over to the other faction for execution in order for peace. They cloned and gene modified the clone to make them different. Dude needs to touch grass.
see,
We all do.
Like there's that, I get it. Like so they have a tie into the story, but it's like the tie into the story is because they want to have the gender stuff, not because this is vital to the story, And so I get what you're saying, Trev, but that still kind of goes back to the point that we were making earlier, like. All this stuff has existed, but the gender stuff matters because of the context that they're doing it in now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I'm just of the opinion, and this is just me, that back in the day when you saw these things done by artists, it was done on a fringe level, and you knew that person really, really cared about whatever they were doing because it wasn't backed by the mainstream press.
Sure.
Now they want to act like it's fringe and weird, but it's corporate backed at every level.
So,
Right.
look, this might be a little offensive, so I'm not sure if I should say it, but maybe I'm just going to try to go with it.
Say,
See, the thing is, like, it used to be where, like, if you were putting some kind of trans person or whatever, it was because you cared about trans issues, right? Now, it's because you want to be cool. It's
Yep.
because you
Not
want to be
trendy.
trendy.
Not-
And it's like, So I don't buy that half the people that say they're trans are actually trans anyways. I think they're just making stuff up.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Obviously, that's not everybody, but there is a certain portion that are just doing the trans thing for attention.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. You know what was a good movie? Was that Hilary Swank movie where she is a trans man. She's a woman who wants to be a man. Boys Don't Cry.
Oh yeah, I never saw that.
Yeah, no, that's a great movie, and the point of her character being trans is it's relevant to the story. It's the whole point of and plot of the story. I won't spoil the end, but it's a really good movie. But now it's like they just throw it in there, and I feel like that's almost insulting.
Well, also it's just like it's still whenever these arguments come up, they say, "Why do you care so much?" It's a small portion of the population, but the amount of media output way overshadows the amount of actual people that supposedly, identify that way. So people feel like it's being shoved down their throat.
Yep.
Like if it was a one story every once in a while that kind of coincided with the idea that it is such a small fringe of the population, that's fine. But then the idea is like, why is there so much of it if it's such a small portion of the population? It's fair to ask questions. It's fair to ask questions.
Yeah.
Okay, in a more classic American story, Kevin Costner's wife and him are getting divorced. We will hold off on that $20 super chat then. Just give me 1 second. And so Kevin Costner's wife asked for a crap ton of money in child support. And the judge slashed it in half. She's only getting $63,000 a month, and she's like, I'm gonna have to enter the workforce. I love it. Like I just love it. Like this is such a classic Hollywood story. He's like, get out of my house and don't take any of the artwork when you leave. And she's like, look, what am I supposed to do? I'm only getting $63,000 a month in child support. My kids are used to wealth. They need to grow up with wealth.
They'll starve.
They're gonna starve if they, it's like a Chris Rock skit when he's talking about like OJ cracking because of the alimony he was paying. He's like $20,000 a month in alimony, like that. Like, with inflation, that's about what we're looking at here. So she asked for $161,000 a month in child support, and the judge gave her $63,000. But I just love the headline says like she may have to enter the workforce. And remember, this is just the child support. We're not even talking about what she'll
Spousal.
get in the divorce, right? It's just those things are contentious, man. It's a scary thing to have to go through when you're like I truly do believe that Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith bought the biggest mansion they could so they could sleep at opposite ends of the mansion, and that they're just together because getting divorced. Like imagine being Jay-Z and Beyonce and being like, how are we going to untangle billions of dollars in assets? Like just live in different parts of the house.
It's quite the entanglement.
live in different places, man. $63,000 a month.
I feel like I mean they probably would have if someone like Beyonce and Jay-Z. I mean if Zucker or what's his name Bezos, the owner of Amazon, can get divorced, then anyone can get
and
divorced.
Gates and Bill Gates.
And Gates.
Elon Musk did, but I think he was married before he became like Elon that he is today.
I just imagine that it takes an entire school bus full of lawyers for both sides. They have to go into like a
great
fight.
meme that I think I've mentioned this one before. Like right after like Gates got divorced, like there was a guy. It shows a guy with his computer and it's HDMI hooked up to two TVs, and one of the TVs is black and one of the TVs has the whole monitor. It says his wife already took half. Like it's in like what did Bezos's wife took a ton of money and then gave like half of it to leftist charities, right? Like, and now I love it. And now he's engaged. Mary calls her like a sex bot. Like she's like she just looks like a bad idea. Like she looks like
he clearly hasn't been watching Fresh and Fit.
He looks like he saw her and he's like
that too, so.
He looks like he saw this girl and he's like worth it. Like that's what it looks like to me. He's like, oh, fine, it's fine.
Well, I respect him for choosing someone, I guess, in his age bracket, sort of.
Kind of.
Well, how old is she?
She's in her 40s.
How old is he?
Like he's in his 60s, right?
Yeah.
50s or 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're fairly
Is that
close.
age? Is that in his age bracket?
Yeah.
I feel like once you get to a certain point.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. All right, guys. So
Not that I'm. I mean, like, not like I'm gonna go and talk smack.
Good for
my
Kevin
last girlfriend was
Costner.
29. You know, so
good for Kevin Costner, given the fact that, have you ever seen the picture? It's like Adele leaving, like after she gets divorced and she's leaving her lawyer's office, like looking really sad because her husband got half of her money because she was so wealthy. She's like, her head's all down. So keep your money, Kevin. Good for you.
look, as far I know that it's like there's a lot of people that are like, dudes should do that kind of stuff because fair's fair and stuff. It is some weak sauce to go after a woman's money. It is some weak sauce. Get out there and do something for yourself. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go off, King.
I mean, maybe that's the toxic masculinity in me or whatever. But it's some weak.
Your chivalry knows no bounds.
It's some weak stuff to be like, I'm gonna go after my wife, my ex-wife.
Take the money, guys. Take the money. All right, guys. Did you see this thing of the? I wanted to talk about this because it's a Maryland cop, the Maryland cop who got caught with his mistress in the back of his cop car. It's culture because it's our area, right? I don't want to get pulled over by this guy. Weak morals. But it says Maryland cop suspended after hookup video, and his wife's like dragging him on Facebook. So just worry about this if you get caught like going into a cop car with a young lady.
Mira, pisando estamos.
Not good.
So bad.
Cameras are everywhere, my friends.
They are all over.
Yeah.
Vaya. Para el carro, mira, para atrás la lleva, mira, ve. Ey, no, mira,
He's like, I'll let you off the ticket this one time.
Oh,
He's like, I've never been in the back of a police car. What's it like?
Quítate, man, Quítate, Hey, yo.
They're like pumped for the guy. They're like, yeah, good for you, dude. And then they're like, but I'm gonna sell it to TMZ.
Oh man.
Es un animal, es policía pelón.
What a dummy.
And they listen to F the police while doing it, I'm sure. I have no doubt. But the wife is like mad at him on Facebook right now. She says, thanks, everyone. Yes, this is a very rough time for me and my kids. As embarrassing and painful as this is, please check in on us. We need the support and the love and most of all, the respect from the community and our families. That's what I mean. This is poor community policing because what's she's supposed to do? She's going to be embarrassed for the rest of her life. And then now the police, like the dude's been suspended. Not all cops are good people.
Nope. Cops are people. That means you're going to get the whole gambit.
That's
So.
right.
Yep.
All right. There's a $20 super chat there from
Okay.
Derpalipa.
Let's see. I can't see the names. There it is. AZ had been playing the game for hours. It was a relentless stream of space Karens and overrepresentation of all things brown. Throw in some woman claiming to be a clone of a man because gender is just a choice is bullshit.
Yeah, and the thing is like when you're immersed in something and you can literally feel the person writing that storyline behind the scenes, you're just like, oh.
And patting themselves on the back as they're doing it.
You can hear the clicking of the computer as it goes.
Yeah, like it's the risk you pay you take now if you're going.
My woman
to
studying professor's gonna be so proud of me.
Exactly, right? They're changing the culture little by little. Also, guys, there's an influencer who says just go on a trip to Thailand. Like it's kind of like when people say, "Are you poor? Just buy a house."
Just stop being poor.
Just stop
being
poor.
depressed.
I love it. I love it. I like the lady getting her comeuppance because she's anti-American, but that's just me. But here we go. Let's watch the clip. She's
30 on a Thursday night for you if you just book a freaking flight. Like, come to Thailand. This should freaking sell you. Get your ass out here. What are y'all still doing in America? Like, this could be 5:30 on a Thursday night for you if you just book a freaking flight. Like, come to Thailand. This should freaking sell you. Get your ass out here.
What are you doing? Just book a flight. Guys, I'm out of here. I'm going on kayak. I'm taking off. Like, I just leave mid-show and just go to Thailand.
Like, great point.
Like, yeah.
Responsibilities.
She's got a point. I'm out of here. The hell with this.
What am I
this
doing?
person?
She's a travel influencer. I love that job title. I love that job too. Like you,
That's sustainable for life?
No. There's a lot of people who make good money. Basically, like resorts and companies pay them because they have large followings to come and post about where they're staying. Right. So
Yeah. Here's my thing though. Once it becomes a lifestyle, it's no longer a vacation.
yeah, it's still work. I mean,
Yeah.
but there have been travel blog writers for years.
Broken.
Travel writers have existed for ages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For newspapers and for magazines and stuff like that.
Okay.
So that's not anything new. You know that Tom.
What is a newspaper?
Tom from MySpace retired to be like a travel photographer.
He was smart guy.
Go him.
And he did it before all the culture war stuff really got off the ground.
He wouldn't
took
have
his
censored us.
$500 million or whatever and said, "See ya."
You know what I would have liked if this is like it's like like butterfly flaps his wings in the culture war goes a completely there's a tear in the space time continuum and instead of the culture war it becomes like Tom and he's censoring music acts he doesn't like. He's like all that remains. I'm not a huge fan of them. Shadow bands. No place for you on MySpace.
Rotten.
That's he's just or he's got just those couple acts that he doesn't like and he's like, you know what? I freaking hate Mick Jagger. His skin is leathery looking. He's weird. He's 80. He's 80. Like, he's not getting plays. Like, he's clearly not running he didn't learn HTML. This is not him running this MySpace account. I'm banning him. That could have been the culture war we could have had, but we're stuck with what we've got now.
Yep.
It's kind of a bummer, actually. Like, it would be better off. We'd be better off.
He's too good for this culture war.
That is true. All right, what would you guys like? What would you like, cringe or cute of the day? There's 2 cringes today. So.
Should we do a sandwich?
No. We'll do one or we'll do both first. So let's do cringe first.
Let's do cringe
let's do cringe first. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So first things first. TikTok users baffled as woman stumbles upon NPC streams out in public. This is like the world we live in right now. That's one. And
Oh my god.
They're actually doing them in public.
dude, it's kind of incredible because it's one of those things where there used to be like somebody was posting recently like videos of like when people used to have to record like their college or high school class on like a handy cam.
Yeah.
And they showed this video, right? And all the kids are kind of naturally hesitant to be on camera because it just wasn't common back then in the early 2000s. Like you saw a camera and you're like, not everybody is inclined towards the camera. It's just that's just the way it is. Now that's becoming less and less common because everyone growing up wants to be a freaking influencer or a YouTuber or something like.
I still find it weird to take selfies, even though like I've done this like a few times now. I still feel weird just like taking a video or a photo of myself. It'll never not feel weird.
Yeah.
But I also I didn't grow up with technology.
I hate being on camera. I do.
Really?
I do. I just pretend that's just a. I don't know what it is, but it's not a camera. It's a rock sitting on a tripod.
My level of comfort with being on camera is directly related to how much I've been in the gym lately.
There you go. There you go.
Posting those
Now you
selfies.
want to be on camera even more. You're like, let's
All
go.
the time.
When I'm feeling a little on the pudgy side, I'm like, the shirt's not coming off on
Like-
stage if I'm not feeling good,
Under the table. Like
Yeah,
this.
exactly.
Yeah.
But if I'm lean, and then I'm like, it's kind of warm up here.
Wow, it is certainly is that global warming is crazy right now.
There's every chance you get.
Man, these lights are hot up here.
We're all freezing.
Have you guys seen anything like that? Because one of the things that I find annoying is when you go like I used to work at a convenience store and people would come in on like Zoom calls or like on like FaceTime. And I'm like, could you please not do that? And like while I'm trying to sell you something,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
But people maybe it was born out of like Pokemon Go when everybody just started playing Pokemon Go and like I saw so many because I used to see like there was like a rock bed display out front of this place where I was working, and I watched for like 2 weeks. It was like Pokemon Holocaust, watching all these people just trip over these rocks by like they're like looking at their phone, and they fall flat on their face.
Oh, no.
And like
Oh my
eventually,
gosh, that's the trope of this generation.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
It was pretty crazy how wrapped up people got in Pokemon Go.
yeah.
Yeah, it's very dangerous.
And eventually I had to be like, it's kind of like don't. The Rock.
You can't save them.
Can't save him.
Can't save them, Brett.
Can't save
They're
him.
locked in.
All right, and we got one more here, ladies and gentlemen. This is a young lady talking about free bleeding. Here we go.
Bleeding is being on your period and just bleeding into nothing, like having, no pad, no tampon, no underwear, no nothing on, nothing.
It gets worse.
You can free bleed. How do you free bleed? You can free bleed many different ways. I like to steal my man's boxers. Okay. One pair. I have one specific pair I free bleed into. Okay. And I grab them. Sorry. Here in my house. Anyways, I get them, I put them on, and I sit on a towel. Just sit on a towel. You obviously don't free bleed the days that you have shit going on. It's usually days that, you're just chilling in the motherfucking house. But yeah, free bleeding is where you just bleed freely. Yeah, so I enjoy it.
All right.
On a scale of this to period blood art, where does it fall? Have you ever seen that period, like women who paint with period blood?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She didn't say anything innovative.
Thoughts, ladies?
I mean, if she's boycotting tampons and other things.
It's that pink tax. She doesn't want to pay the
She
pink tax.
doesn't want to pay that. No, I can get that.
Yep.
But don't steal your boyfriend's underwear.
Yeah, I know. That's where I draw the line. That's
When a guy does that, it's
rude.
creepy.
Yeah.
Or so I've been told.
Does not go both ways.
All right. Okay, I got cue to the day as well, ladies and gentlemen. Don't worry. I will consider it like washing your eyes out afterwards. This is from Alistair de Guzman. Says, joined X for this and IRL. The tan dog was Walt. He was a stray we found under the house and just kept him. This was a chilly day
Bless
at the
you.
beach. Brown dog is Harley. Old boy gets tired when camping. He also hates country music.
Perfect.
That is adorable.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, he doesn't look like he would like Morgan Wallen all that much. Oh, that's the country music they're making him listen to? He's like, he's like, please turn that off.
He's
I hate
meditating.
It. Yes.
Very cute.
All right, and we got one more here. This is from Ellen G. Says, just in case you need Bubbles today, Bubbles meets Sharpie, the new pony. Bubbles in the sunset. Bubbles is a bad boy for taking his feeding muzzle. Bubbles does America.
Oh my gosh.
Bubbles.
Bubbles is very, very cute.
Dude, I cannot drive by a horse without being like, horsey.
He does look guilty right there. He's like, why did he's like, yes.
Feels like I'm never getting into
Oh,
a
look
car
at
with her.
the American flag.
Horsey.
What is that?
It's the American flag.
Oh, that's red.
Is it art?
It's art.
Is that period art?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Hey, that's
I wasn't gonna
unsanitary
say it.
Where do you
wrong.
get blue blood?
I almost.
Sorry.
That is unsanitary and wrong. Just,
I went
just
there.
No. Just no. All right, guys. So, all right. Before we get started, because we haven't started yet, ladies and gentlemen, hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already. Remember, as you have seen so far today, all super chats $20 and over will stop discussion. We will read them right then and there, and then we will get back on topic. Thank you so much. Now that we are 49 minutes in, let's get right into it, shall we?
I love that we're getting right directly
Right into it. Right into it. All right, guys. So The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and Oprah are in trouble with the general public because they came out and they started a fund to help the wildfire victims in Maui. Now, we mentioned this last week, but I was surprised because the backlash seemed to continue to mount for them. People were very unhappy with their message. So let's, if we can, we'll watch what they said here first. I think we watched it before, but let's watch it one more time.
We were so concerned about what was happening in Maui that we were texting back and forth. And I read this article that Dolly Parton had given money in her community. And I said, I think this is the answer. You said, I think that's the answer.
I said, I love it.
And so we have created the People's Fund of Maui that will put money directly in the hands of the people who need it right now. So if you send a donation, just click where you see below and send a donation. That money is going to go to one of many residents who have been displaced in Maui. We guarantee.
That's right. I know a lot of people out there, as Oprah and I have been finding, are just having a hard time trusting where the money goes. What organizations should I send money to? How can I help? In this case, the fund that we created with a lot of hard work from a lot of hardworking people who all care about these people of Maui. As Oprah was saying, it is a clean, direct from you directly to their hands, and right away with some real immediacy, because as we're finding, as you guys around the world know, with disasters like this, the #1 need is money.
Is money. Is money.
In hand.
And so
we're
people
meeting
being
that.
able to have their own agency, being able to make decisions for themselves about what they need and what their family needs, that's our goal, is to get that to the people now. And so we appreciate any support that you can give all the people who were calling me and texting me and messaging me and saying, what do I do? What do I do? This is what you do.
Now you know.
The People's Fund of
Of
Maui.
Maui.
Yes.
Wasn't
Can't
her house
stand
like one of
her.
the only ones that didn't burn down or something?
Yeah. Because she hired
Yes.
a firefighting team to protect her stuff.
The funny thing about this, this is kind of the same thing I always say with celebrities. Like, they were just texting. They were just, Oprah and The Rock were just texting. I don't know if I buy that, but what people are upset about is that they only gave, here's the thing. They're like, you could have given more, and that's always a problem because it's
Yeah.
not their job to give any specific amount. So it's like you can't win when it comes to stuff like this. They each gave $5 million. Well, they're like, well, you could have given more. It's like, yeah, well, what do you give? Do you give money to some cause? And when you do, does that break your bank? Is it reliant on how close it is to the top of your net income? It's more gracious if they give $10 million each, $20 million each.
Yeah.
I'm not standing for celebrities here, but the point is they're courting the wrong audience, right? So it's an audience of envy. It's an audience of people who don't want to help other people themselves. They want to tell other people how to help other people, or they want the government to do it. They would have no problem with the government doing this. They'd be more than happy to let the federal government help, but the federal government isn't helping right now with Maui. So it's I was like, they should have just asked conservatives. Conservatives love to throw money at causes they care about, right? They put their money where their mouth is when it comes to things like this. But The Rock, Oprah, they're going to court a very, very mainstream audience. And all the people who are asking, they're like, well, why didn't you give more? What is more? What is the right amount for a celebrity to give, right? There's a lot of people say, when we talk about shows like this, they say if you can't, people who have Patreons and stuff, they're like, if you can't join, the best thing you can do for a show like this is share it with other people.
Sure.
So the signal boost is they get more out of the signal boost. They'll end up raising more money off of how many people in Oprah and The Rock reach. I just have no sympathy for Oprah or The Rock because they get what they have coming to them because these are the people that they court as their fans, right?
Yeah.
To say people they court as their fans is, I think that's not accurate because they don't really try not to have fans. They're trying to be as inoffensive and cast as wide of a net as possible.
Oddly enough, I think the people that are offensive and niche would end up raising more money.
That could be possible. I don't really know that I have a take on that. I just don't think that they're specifically trying to get anything more than your average low information person.
But the people wouldn't have a problem if it was coming from their taxes because they don't understand how the taxes work. The money's coming. They'd be like, okay, well, the government is going to help the people of Maui. They'd be like, good, help. Not realizing that that's your money that's being spent to help. The government should be helping, but they're not.
Sort of, but yeah.
So these are some of the comments is why can't you rebuild with your money? The nerve to ask. This is the most out of touch thing I've ever seen in my life. Sell your land to the people of Maui.
Yeah, how about that?
This is entitlement. This is
Yeah,
entitlement
yeah.
from the people in the comments.
Yeah.
But if you're the people who are actually in Maui, you're not going to feel bad that Oprah and The Rock are asking for help. They'll take any help you can get.
Yeah,
and any
appreciate
person
it.
saying this would be more than happy to get this type of thing done for them if it was their home that got destroyed.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
I
You know what
don't
I was
trust
just thinking
her.
about? So did we, since FEMA went to Burning Man, does that mean that was our tax dollars paying to
Yes.
bail those people out?
Yes. Yep. And then what were you saying? You were saying that Oprah
Hired a firefighting team to
Yeah.
protect her property before things got too bad.
but also you said there was questions about the fund,
I don't
right?
I don't know
About where the
About
money
her
goes?
fund or in general?
I don't trust.
I
the
think
funding.
there's always a question, and you should proceed with caution anytime you donate money.
Yeah.
Because you never really know where it's going or how much of it is going
Charity
to
is so
the
scammy.
cause.
Yeah, charity can be
Unfortunately,
really
yeah,
scammy,
yeah.
and it's unfortunate. So I would not give her any of my money.
Look at the Black Lives Matter charities that all those people that embezzled money
exactly.
and they bought houses and blah blah blah.
That's what I'm
and,
saying.
and
Yeah.
there
You
was-
can't trust those
But
big guys.
I wonder if they're such public figures, would it be harder for them to do stuff like that?
I think so, but that I don't know. I mean, that's just probably just a gut reaction, honestly,
Yeah,
more
who
than
knows?
anything else than any kind of like educated perspective or anything.
Yeah, that would be
informed
mine
perspective.
as well.
I just wonder about the logic of people saying like you shouldn't ask for help if you've donated $5 million each. Like, what does that account to, right? Like, is that not enough from a celebrity? I don't know. Like, I don't know. I just know that we kind of have entered into a culture where we don't want to. A lot of people don't want to help other people. Right, because we are so strapped. Most of us are so strapped for money. People can't, they don't have the money to feed their family. How can they be expected to donate to something when they don't even have money to feed their families? That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that is it really wrong for them to at least try?
I mean, no.
Yeah.
Not at
Like,
all.
no.
Yeah.
It's somebody said about tracking the funds. That's another thing. It's like,
there's a $20 super
from
chat.
Nathan Koss.
Nathan says, I thought their 10 million was actually to set up the infrastructure for a donation platform. They didn't donate it to people. They invested it to set up a fundraising org.
I wonder how much it's raised so far. But this is also a product of the fact that the government's not helping, right? We'll give however many billion to Ukraine, but we will not help out our own citizens here in America, right? I think back, do you think this would have been like this if this was the 80s or the 90s? I feel like back then there was more general trust in celebrities, so it would have worked better back then.
I think so. I mean, you look at like We Are the World, USA
Yes.
for Africa and stuff like that. Those were really, really, really big deals. And I was a little kid back then, but like I remember there wasn't the kind of cynicism and skepticism of the motives behind that kind of stuff. It's like everyone in America kind of felt, or at least all the kids that I went to school with, it's like everybody knew that like there was famine going on in Africa. Like that was something that school age kids knew, and we were really, really lucky to be Americans, and we should do whatever we can to help because there was people dying. That was the general, that was the vibe, and that was the truth according to everybody. There wasn't a lot of voices out there that were saying, no, it's not the case. There aren't really people. There wasn't people saying, no, nobody's actually dying in Africa. They get rain all the time. They're lying to you. But nowadays, I feel like that almost might be a thing you hear. You're like, oh, there was no fires in Maui.
Also-
They're lying about that, or that kind of
or that
crazy
we're not privileged in America and America's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, a general distrust of charities and a general distrust of these organizations because you don't know where your money's going. Like Oprah saying that doesn't mean the money's actually going there. Like, what does that mean? At the end of the day, you're still kind of taking a leap of faith. Here's my money. I hope it actually makes it to someone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of like those old. It's like you can donate $5, however many cents a day to save like a pygmy in another country.
Yeah.
Like they'll send you a picture of it. Like that had to be a scam, right? That had to be a scam. That was just a picture taken off the early days of the internet. It's like, here, this is the wild.
The small child that you're 28 cents a day.
Oh, they did it with
Feeding.
children. That's even weirder. They did do it with children.
Yeah,
right?
they did. You got a picture and blah blah blah. There was a human being they attached to it. Now I don't know if they were actually real people or not, but if they weren't, that is absolutely terrible.
Yeah. No, it's awful.
if there were, it's like, pull on the heartstrings and see who you're helping.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so superhero movies, I'm just going to address this. She says, I like The Rock, but he should have stayed out of this one. And Oprah, aren't you ridiculously rich? Only $5 million? Really? She is ridiculously rich. She's a billionaire. So the question is, what's the right amount? I'm going to keep asking that question. What is the right amount? Because that's what all their complaints are. You could have given more. Okay, what the fuck is more?
The right amount is just an arbitrary amount of money that someone that has less money doesn't comprehend.
Yeah.
And who else should have given as well? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I was just saying, who else should have given as well? Because there's plenty of people who didn't.
Especially in like if you are talking about Hawaii and Maui, there's plenty of people that are very wealthy that own property out there. I mean, a lot of people that lost property, not everybody. I'm not saying that there's plenty of people there that have lost everything, and I'm not trying to minimize, but you know that there are wealthy people that own property in Maui that got burned down.
Yeah.
You know that they could toss in a significant amount of money for
their own community.
Yeah, for their own community.
Yeah. So. It's just weird to me because this seemed like people telling anybody, whether it's a person you like or not. I have no love loss for Oprah. I don't care about The Rock other than to see his movies, and for her, I guess not really anything because Oprah's kind of sucks. But I'm not going to tell somebody else how to spend their money, and it's just weird. It just to me, it's indicative of the culture we live in now, where it's a culture of let somebody else do it. Not that way. Do it this way. Do it like allow me to, Monday morning quarterback your generosity. Whatever you think of that generosity, whether they did just donate $10 million to build the infrastructure for the account, they could have just done nothing and not donated anything,
right?
And gotten less heat by staying out of the news cycle.
It's like when someone does you a favor and you complain about it.
How it was
It's
done.
just so cringe.
I did see that. Like, was it Steven Tyler or somebody was saying like it's time to come back to Maui? Like they want tourists back on Maui because a big part of like Hawaii is like the tour. Tourism is such a big part of their economy, right? Like, I don't know. I find it weird when I see the people saying like it needs to be done this way. Like, you can have ideas on what that is, but I just would rather know, like, okay, then give me the right amount. Like, tell me what the amount is that The Rock should give. That's the right amount. It's like he just became the highest paid single film actor in history. I think it was $55 million for a single movie role, right?
Wow.
But it's like, I don't know. I just find it weird that people have that this way.
Yeah.
But that's fine. Okay, so then be like, okay, then just tell me how to do it and I'll do it if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's go and do a couple of the non-$20 super chats. We got one up there from DC and C. You see that one? At the very top.
I do.
Yep.
I do. Okay. Should we read that one?
Is it? Go to the next one.
Okay. 1981 was peak theatrical slasher releases. 42 slashers made it to American theaters.
42 made it to American theaters?
That's what they're saying.
Okay. All right.
Okay. And then we already read that one. I think we read that one.
Derpalipa.
A tourniquet to the neck will stop any bleeding. Yeah, it'll stop any blood flow as well.
Yeah. So if you want to be able to breathe, that's great, but you're going to have to, you can stop the bleeding, but you're just not going to be able to breathe, right?
There you go.
There you go.
If people, this is from Waffle Sensei. Okay. If people want to have a weird pronoun in a fantasy video game, they should be allowed to. I want to throw fireballs and fight dragons in my fantasies. Okay.
I mean, like I said, I feel bad because I'm not as invested in the games as they are. But I like if it's the same thing as we're talking about in the culture war, where I have to watch a movie that supposedly takes place in the 90s, and I see people in the middle of Harlem lamenting capitalism, and I'm just like, you can't escape it anywhere you go. It's in everything. Like I get it. I get where the rage comes from.
Well, he did follow up, it looks like, saying with another chat, but I understand it's the grain of sand in the culture war that makes it a problem. Yes. Yeah. And that's how they get you. It's frogs in boiling water. It's one grain of sand at a time until the levee breaks, or whatever you want to call it.
Let's do one more.
This is from Disco Jensen. An RPG shouldn't have to ask for pronouns. They're assumed when you select your character's gender. It's a blatant redundancy for agenda. Oh, wow. So they make you select a gender and pronouns?
Crazy.
Well, yeah. I mean, how are you going to have a girl penis if you don't do that?
All right, guys. With that being said, let's move on, shall we? So, more of the propaganda is coming out from the media in regards to the contract negotiations going on between the Writers Guild of America and the Screen Actors Guild going on right now. They're trying to figure out how they're going to, split their profits, how they're going to do residuals, what's going on with AI, and what's coming out of this is a ton of like propaganda articles about how little money people are making on these things. The most annoying part being is they're like, oh, I didn't make that much in residuals. Well, like ignoring the fact that they made huge amounts up front for each episode of a show, right? But Aaron Paul reveals that Netflix pays him $0 in residuals from his award-winning Breaking Bad role as he joins the rally against the streaming giants. What do you think? Do you think this is something that he has a right to complain about? Because Netflix did not create Breaking Bad. Netflix, it was AMC that created Breaking Bad, right? So, or was it FX? But the point is I was thinking about this, and it's kind of like, remember back in the day, you went to Blockbuster and you rented a movie, right?
All the good
Taking me
days.
back.
Yeah,
Take me back,
it's
Brett.
good.
Yeah.
So imagine that you were in. What's a movie you really like? Pick a movie you really like. Any
Princess
movie.
Bride.
Princess Bride.
Yes,
Okay, so who is your favorite performer in The Princess Bride?
I like who's the Spanish guy?
Inigo Montoya.
Yes.
You killed his father.
Any movie, right?
Okay.
Any movie, any character. Are they saying that like they should get residuals for every time you watched a movie after renting it from a Blockbuster? Because that's what you're doing when you're watching a movie on Netflix. You're essentially watching something that was rented because you pay monthly for it, but instead of a movie you rented from a Blockbuster that got the movie from a studio or from their distributor, you're just watching it on a streaming service. And what's the problem is like none of the contract law as far as residuals, streaming, and how things are played have caught up to the times, and they had about 20 years to figure all of this out. So is he saying that Netflix pays the distributor of Breaking Bad a specific amount of money to license it and use it on their platform, then Netflix should also have to pay out to the actors for playing a product that they licensed out that doesn't have commercials in it, that doesn't have ads in it? That doesn't make any sense. What would make more sense, I guess, is if these actors in the future, when the laws catch up, have good contracts that say, like, look, when and if you decide to license this show out to another streaming service, I get a cut of that deal, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't know how actors get like residuals anyways, because I always kind of thought like you only got residuals when you were like the creative side, not the actual performance side. So like for musicians, if you write a song, you get residuals for writing. You don't always get residuals for performance if you just go in and sing the song. So you might get like a day rate. Go in, sing.
Oh, I just saw this video the other day of the girl who I guess she's the I don't know if you ever heard like Birdman. It's like Maybach music.
Yeah.
She's like the girl who recorded the phrase Maybach music, and she's just like a groupie from Australia, and they just got her in the studio. She's like, we were just in the studio with Birdman. And they're like, oh, you should record that. And then that's been on like every song for like the last 20 years.
Oh my
and every comment in the video was like, I hope she's getting royalties from, like, she's not getting royalties from that. No.
You know, I saw,
No.
Dude, I saw a video of the guy from Drake and Josh talking about how on Nickelodeon and like those Disney Channel movies or TV shows, people do not get residuals. The main characters don't, but the extras will.
Yeah. What? Well, what they would do is they would repackage the show after 3 seasons to keep the rates low, right? They'd give it a new name. Like they would change.
Like they would be like Drake and Josh, like go to
California.
Yeah.
So it's like a different show. So technically they don't have to. It's the reason why Netflix would, why shows mysteriously get canceled after 3 seasons. No contract renewals, no renegotiating and stuff like this. Look, you're taking on like the most capitalist industry there is in America, the film industry, in a lot of ways, right?
Right.
You're not gonna win. You're not going to. Disney is in the middle of getting sued right now because they've gotten so good at hiding losses and expenses because they've got lawyers that are just so good at their job. Like, I actually wholeheartedly believe that a lot of these actors are getting screwed. I just have no sympathy for either side because they're all insufferable.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's like, but at the end of the day, it's like they're like, I should be making more money. It's like you have to hire a lawyer that is very, very good, and you have to be willing to walk away if the money isn't right. And most people aren't willing to do that because in acting, you get one chance at a big break, right?
Well,
and they don't want to walk away from
you would
it.
probably
That's the same thing. Sorry, that's the same thing that happens with bands. So bands will sign a record deal, right? And you'll sign away however many records to say, just for an argument, say we're going to talk about 2 records, right? You've got your contract record, and then there's an option, which means that if you do well, you are obligated to give another record to the label. If your first record doesn't do so well, the label can say, we don't want to do another record with you. So essentially, it's their option. Most of the time, when bands get done with their record and they go on tour, after the tour, they're broke. They're out of money. So they got to do something to make money. So they got to sign another record deal or extend the record deal to get another lump of cash to do a record because they will live on that money for a while. And so you're constantly kind of chasing, unless you get like some significant, movement with your career and actually like start doing stuff. But even with All That Remains, like we have had a really, really, really successful career, and still there was a lot of times where after a tour you go and you're like, all right, we got to do a record, and we had a couple months off, 3 months off. It's like, well, time to get in there. We need the label to start paying us so that way we can pay for the time, and also we got people that are like, oh well, my bank account's getting a little bit light, so that you've got a record, an option of signing a record deal to get that advance money. So a lot of times people will make that short-term decision because it's really hard to
Gotta hustle.
get off that kind of free money lump up front, because otherwise you have to go ahead and do the record yourself and pay for it. And then you have to release it yourself and pay for it. And nowadays it's much easier, but 10, 15, 20 years ago, it wasn't like that.
A lot of artists are realizing that it's more work to release on your own, but the upside is far more advantageous for them if they decide to do that. And these actors could figure that out. Like all these, a lot of these actors, like the young ladies and the gentlemen who make the show Critical Role on YouTube, which is a D&D thing, right? Like Ashley Johnson, who's an established voice actress and she was on a show called Blind Spot with Sullivan Stapleton and Jamie Alexander, and she's a very established actress who happened to have a passion for board games, right? And they started this YouTube channel that grew to be very, very successful. Well, a lot of these actors could do that on their own with enough creativity. They could invest in the right equipment, in the right stuff, and launch their channels based on their name recognition, and probably come out better than a lot of them do in movies and television, because they would have control over everything they make. They ended up raising a bunch of money for Critical Role to make an animated version of the show. Like not the live action one that they're doing on YouTube, but to do an animated version. They raised the money they needed and then ended up being bought out for even more than that by Amazon Prime, which turned into the show Vox Machina, which is a very popular show on Amazon Prime, all because they had a passion outside of what they were doing with their regular 9-to-5 job. They were doing something else, and their name recognition helped build that up. All those voice actors had strong credibility in their own right, and now they've got this other thing that's probably getting them more money because it's theirs. It doesn't. I mean, I guess Vox Machina probably belongs to Amazon Prime now, but the show Critical Role, which was doing great on YouTube, that's theirs. No one can take that from them because they invested in themselves to do that. And I think a lot of actors. I had a friend who she started off as not even we went to high school together, and she moved to California to be an actress. She ended up getting some roles in like weekly episodes of TV shows, and she left to just do content creation and podcasting because she just found a way to make more money doing it, and it allowed her to work for herself. Like a lot of them, they're just not willing to work for themselves, and I don't blame them. That would be very, very difficult. It's very, very scary. Like that's not what we're doing here. Like we're still part of a larger brand, right? It's a lot scarier to walk away from the established structure and try to do something on your own, because you have to have a lot of confidence. You either have to have a lot of capital or a lot of confidence in yourself that you're going to be able to make it work. And not everyone's not everyone's up for that. Right?
There's no safety net.
No, not at all. So it's and people were pointing out, they're saying like, look, AMC owes them a cut of their portion of it being sold to Netflix. Not if their contract doesn't say that, right? Like they don't owe you anything if you didn't negotiate for it in their contract. But that show came out in 2008 before the streaming battles, so it wouldn't be part of previous contract negotiations. So all these shows that are doing better than these modern shows, like if you look at like Netflix's the top 10 streaming shows in the world, like weekly, NCIS is on that every single time from Netflix, and that show's been around since 2004. Like those contracts weren't negotiated for streaming residuals or streaming contracts. They would have to renegotiate and make that work. And a lot of those old shows, they're gone now. They're defunct, and I don't know how that works, but I imagine a lot of artists are missing out on things because the contracts they got were for that performance only. You make this much amount, and maybe you get residuals if it gets past 100 episodes and it goes into
I wonder if they've tried and been shut down.
Yeah. It's very possible, especially for renewal, right? And now in a lot of young actors aren't going to want to do that Like, because if they're like, look, this is your big break, you're going to be starring in the show, it's this person, a lot of people aren't going to push hard on that first contract negotiation to make sure that they get what's coming to them. It's like that guy who, did you ever see the story? The guy who voiced, I believe, like one of the characters in the original Lion King, he turned down a lump sum $10 million payment for a percentage, and he makes like insane hundreds of millions of dollars because of all the money that the Lion King has made since it was released.
Smart.
Right?
Yeah,
like it's just, they need better lawyers and they need better contract negotiation. But we're going to see all sorts of these articles written by these journalists who are very pro-union. And they're going to keep making these articles because it's there to put pressure on the studios so that they can get them to hurry up and end this strike. And like I said earlier, they are saying that what was it? Warner Brothers is $300 to $500 million in the hole from the writer's strike this year. I mean, if I'm being honest, Disney lost almost $800 million in movies they made this year. I'm sorry, Warner Brothers, like all their movies lost money, so it doesn't really matter. Almost all of them. Not all of them. But
I want to know how many they actually lost. Like at the end of the year, you should do that. Like there should be a day where you go through all the movies that came out for every studio and just be like, these are all losers. These are all losers. These are all losers.
I threw it away. It was five of Disney's 6 movies that have come out this year all lost money except for like Guardians of the Galaxy.
It could be the PCC list like at the end of the year. Everyone's like the big top 10 list.
Yeah.
It's just your biggest losers.
Yes.
Five out of 6 lost money.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's like, they're like, we're losing money releasing it. What does it matter if we're not releasing anything now? So I don't know. Do you guys
You know what they're going to do? They're going to
people?
come up with a monthly fee. They're going to come up with a subscription plan that you can just pay them to not put movies out.
There's like,
makes money.
well, like we're about to release the new Snow White. They're like, could you just not? I'll give you $15 to just
$15 for the rest of the year. Leave it in the vault.
I will just like seriously.
You guys got a vault. You keep it closed.
So also Bill Maher said that he said the strike came at a bad time, that the writers have no leverage and that nobody's owed a living wage. Because there's another one of those amorphous terms, living wage. What does that mean?
It means enough money so I can order DoorDash whenever I feel like it.
Yeah.
That's what it means. If you think it means so I can get enough money so I can get ramen, that you're wrong. It means I can live in LA, get DoorDash, go out and drink with my friends, buy pot, and that's what a living wage is. A living wage is enough money to pay my bills and go and have fun. That's what a living wage is.
You have a 5-step skincare routine.
Exactly. You know?
In the chat, Unknown says the Snyder movies put them in a deep hole. The Snyder movies, as far as I know, made money. They were failures from the critics, but they still made money. Like I think Batman vs Superman made $850 million. Now the Justice League lost them several $100 million, but the Wonder Woman made the money and the Justice League made the money. Or I'm sorry, in Batman vs Superman made the money. All their movies since getting rid of Snyder, and believe me, I am no Zack Snyder fanboy by any stretch of the imagination. They're fine. I enjoy a movie that actually takes itself seriously in a genre that's full of movies that don't take themselves seriously at all. But the amount of money made per film has dropped significantly since those first movies from him in the series. So, yeah. Do you guys have any type of? Do you feel sad for these people at all for what's going on in Hollywood?
For not getting the residuals or for the strikes?
Yeah, for all of it.
Well, someone actually chatted saying AMC pays residuals based on what Netflix paid them. So if so, no, not at all. And even if so, I mean, they made so much money off of Breaking Bad. If you're complaining about residuals, you're probably a pretty bad investor.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Well, it's like, what was the story about the guy from The Other Side where they're saying like he's only coming after the family now because he's run out of money and stuff like that. I don't know if that's true, but it's just it's funny to watch all of these people fight because they are annoying and they are stupid. But I just don't know if the contracts are ever going to catch up with this stuff, and it won't matter anyways because the journalists are going to report their headlines in a biased fashion no matter what you do. So, all right, let's go to super chats. You got any there? Yeah, we got a couple there.
$20 ones?
No, I think we're through all the $20 ones.
Okay, you want me to keep going?
Yep.
All right, we read that one. Let's see. I can do this. Okay.
Oh, it was from...
Yeah. Okay. Robin Williams killed himself over alimony.
Is that true? Is that true? I don't
Wow.
know. Yeah, I don't know if that's true.
Okay.
And read the one.
On that note.
Read the one from Half Baked Treehouse.
Hey gang, I'm 18 as always, and apropos to nothing. Phil reminds me of the guy that used to buy me 211 in high school. Great to see the ladies made it out of the kitchen. Barely. No. Hi, Brett.
Two T's and Brett. Two T's and Brett, please. Please don't you can misgender me all you want. Don't misname me. Please. Let's hold off on the rest. We'll come back after the fact. All right, let's go ahead and move on, guys. So, Phil, I would love to know what you think about AI musicians.
AI musicians or...
So this is Warner Music Group signs a record deal with first AI pop singer.
So I could have sworn that they did that before. Like, this has happened before. There was a...
Not this record label. So FN Mecca was a rapper that was an AI rapper that got
started
signed.
Swearing, right?
Yes.
And they were like, we can't break. Hold on.
And they got in
they're like,
trouble.
listen to all this rap, and then he starts swearing with all these N-words, and they're like, what did happen? I don't understand.
The crazy part is, know why they were so mad about that? Because it was white people that programmed him, and they were saying it was racist for a white programmer to make a black AI rapper.
I thought the AI was white too.
Yes. No. The rapper was.
The rapper was black?
It looked like he was modeled after Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Okay.
But
the thing is, it's like they're just like, oh, hey, you know.
So it's
listen to all this rap, and then when it starts doing stuff that sounds like rap, they're like, hold on, not like that.
Not that way.
This is crazy because so this is an Instagram influencer named Nunori. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. She never ages, never gets tired, never sleeps. She also doesn't eat, and anything can grow a 6-pack of abdominals on a whim. Excuse me.
Sounds
I'm
like
sorry.
someone you don't want to piss off.
She also only
Tired,
exists.
never needs to eat.
She's terrifying.
She also only exists
T1000.
as a digital entity on the internet. She has just released her debut single called Dominoes after signing a record deal with Warner Brothers Central Europe. Nunori is a first-of-its-kind digital influencer to secure a major record deal. She has a full face with unbelievably wide eyes and tiny nose. I love this part. Trademarks of conventional and unattainable beauty standards. You ladies can't win. The real women give you unattainable beauty standards. The fake AI women give you unattainable beauty standards. What's a lady got to do?
Just be you, man.
Yeah. It says, according to her profile on Virtual Humans, she's a vegan. She's an AI vegan.
now I can't. She's got blue hair and she's a vegan.
She advocates for sustainable fashion and doesn't wear furs when campaigning for a fashion brand.
Aww.
She has actual contracts with fashion labels.
They need to let 4chan have her for a day.
Yeah.
Fix all that vegan stuff.
So, we're kind of just pushing this way. I've made the point before. It's like, I feel like the trend of like TikTok speeding up music where it no longer even sounds like the artist anymore. It's just pushing us further into this realm that desensitizes people from actual music where everything just starts to sound alike. And we're getting away. I feel like there was the guy does an interview with a kid on the street. He goes, who's your favorite musician? And the kid goes, I don't know, just like hip hop on Spotify. And the guy was just mortified. He's like, you don't have a favorite artist? Like we're moving farther and farther from personalization and away from the fact that, like, let's face it, Nunori's never going on strike.
So okay, I got a question for you guys. The three of you guys, when you listen to something that is really, really, really good, do you get your hair stand on end on your arm and stuff?
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
love music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It affects me.
Of course.
Because I feel like you can't get that with like these little snippets that you have on for TikToks and stuff, right? Like if you only have if you only have like 30 seconds,
it's a tease. I don't like it.
And I mean I'm the first guy, like when we're in my band, the first thing I'm thinking about is the chorus, right? I'm the singer. And the chorus is the hook. That's the thing people want. I know how songs are written. The first thing I'm thinking about is the chorus good. But still, like, if there isn't the other stuff, the chorus is good, but it's not the same without it. And I feel like if you're listening to music and music is more a soundtrack for videos, it's like you're not really listening to music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're not experiencing it.
It's a different experience than listening to watching a video with a soundtrack. Even if it's a pop song, is a different experience. So
yeah, it used to be that if you wanted to make it, your music had to be good. But now if you want to make it, you have to gear it towards TikToks. And that's like that you maybe have 30 seconds to catch people and the rest of the song doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Also, like I've noticed, like it seems like they found like this formula for Spotify where it's like there's a big trend, like music, like songs are like 2 minutes and 47 seconds. Under 3 minutes, 3-verse songs are like a thing of the past for a lot of artists anymore. 2 verses. You're not getting.
In fact, you can do a full verse for verse one, do chorus. Your second verse can be a half verse, and then your chorus do a double chorus.
Yeah.
Or you do actually usually that right you'll do a single chorus, then you'll go to your bridge, then you'll go double chorus out. But like you can really get lean on content if you've got a really good chorus, a really good hook that people really want to hear. You can really cut back on what's actually in the song if you want to. You don't have to, but I'm just saying you can.
I like the whole. I like listening to Tool. Like those are long songs. I can really absorb into it.
Tool is like a multi-course meal.
Yeah.
And like pop songs
too.
Deftones, yes.
Pop songs are like fast food.
Yeah.
Like
Cheap Trick.
I was listening to like Rosemary by the Deftones earlier, and it's like 7 minutes long, and I'm like, this rules because it's like you go through kind of a roller coaster by the time you get to the end of the song. But here's the thing. A lot of artists back in the day had managers that had to worry about their artist behavior if they were misbehaving. And you don't have to worry about that with Ninori, assuming that that's how you pronounce it, because your AI pop star is going to behave however you want them to behave. It's going to have the social causes that you want them to have. These AI influencers have like charities they raise money for. Like it's for a generation of kids raised on Cocomelon, right? Like it's like we're going slowly away from anything human and going towards all mechanical.
I would love for them to create like artificial controversy. Like she goes through a divorce, like she gets arrested.
by her
shaves her head.
She's on an AI version of Cops, running away from the cops, and on AI TMZ where they're reporting on what's going on in her life. But she's going to be scandal free, and we've talked a lot about how like that's a big part of like the K-pop scene, right? Is they have to be scandal free because they're supposed to have strong images that reflect the country's values.
But is that really what people like? Is that what people like to see?
Not Americans.
Feel like. Yeah. I mean, generally, though, I feel like if something is too surface level and squeaky clean, people lose interest because it's just not relatable.
Yeah. But this will be for the kids, right? They're going to do this because they're gonna push this towards children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're right, but that's contextual. Like for a place like Korea, like the law is and custom and stuff like that is far more strict than it is here in the U.S. So I feel like that it makes sense that like because I know a lot of people that work in work for Japanese bands, the people in baby metal and stuff like that. They're really, 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 really strict. So there's this guy that was a Japanese guy in America with a Japanese person, smoked pot in America in a place where it's legal to smoke pot. And he got fired when he got back to Japan because you can't smoke pot in Japan, and you can't break Japan's laws when you're abroad.
What happened to John Lennon?
Well, I think they tried to get into Japan with weed. And so they were like, and that's why like the Beatles, like it's Paul McCartney, and Paul McCartney's still not allowed in Japan.
Paul McCartney.
Sir Paul McCartney is not allowed in Japan because he tried to get in with weed one time, like in the '60s or whatever.
Oh my gosh!
But yeah, like
talk about a grudge.
Like the type of society does matter because it's crazy that you go to jail because you smoked pot in a country where it's legal to smoke pot, but it's illegal in your country. So but they don't mess around because you're a representative of Japan.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So.
Also, if you're wondering if it's going to keep going farther, Drake and The Weeknd AI collaboration is Grammy bound. They're saying that the CEO is saying that it's fair game. They're going to submit did you ever hear the Drake and The Weeknd AI song where it's not actually them? I think we talked about it on here. I'll put it up here. You can hear it. I'm not sure if this will be copyrighted, but.
Like Selena, the flex, bumping Justin Bieber, the flavor and left, she know what she need, all she blessed, giving me my best,
not actually him singing, and they're saying that that can be submitted for a Grammy.
Wow.
Yeah. The anonymous human creator behind the track, his name's Ghostwriter, submitted it for both Song of the Year and Best Rap Song of the 66 Grammy nominations. I bet you this becomes more commonplace.
Best AI song.
That's what they'll have to do. If they give a Best AI category before the Oscars gives a Best Stuntman category, I will riot.
The fact, the Grammys are really like an inside baseball kind of thing.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with whether or not anything's good or whether or not people like it or whether or not it sells a lot. The Grammys are all a bunch of people that get together and they say, this guy's popular, we like them, we want to promote these people, et cetera, et cetera. It has nothing to do with record sales or any of that kind of stuff.
Also,
at all. It's all about who's cool.
Yeah. The Weeknd and Drake don't go to the Grammys and they don't submit their stuff. They're like anti-Grammys.
Lamb of God's vocalist Randy did the most ballsy thing ever. He didn't go. They won, and then he auctioned it off and gave the money away.
Oh,
badass!
savage.
Not,
Oh
like
my
all
gosh.
that remains would never get, because like it's like a there's a if you're a cool band you can, but whatever. But like All That Remains would never get nominated. But if All That Remains did, I would not go. I would do the same shit.
You'd do the
Randy
same
did.
thing.
That rules.
It's
That's
metal.
the coolest
So much
thing
cooler.
Super
ever.
metal, yeah.
The coolest thing he could have done is just not go, take
Yep.
that, and give it up.
Don't wanna play
because
games.
like gold records, those kind of things matter. Like platinum records, those kind of things matter because that's people actually parting with their money to purchase your stuff, right? The Grammys and stuff, that's just awards from people in the music industry that are going to sniffing their own butts. That's all it is. It means nothing at all except for the industry approves of you. If you get a gold record or a platinum record, that kind of stuff matters because that's like people buy your music. People like it,
Yeah,
Do
exactly.
you think we're just getting away from the human element in a lot of ways? Like the studios, I see why the studios want it. The studios want it because they can pay less. It's kind of the same concept that they have now. Instead of shooting things practical, they're like, we'll just do it in post. We'll do special effects. We'll put it on a green screen because it's easier to do it in a controlled environment that they can do. It costs more money, but it's just easier. Now it's both going to be cheaper to not have to hire real people. Plus the, new Nori will never be late for a concert because she overslept or got drunk the night before.
Yep.
Are they going to do concerts? We're now about to talk about Taylor Swift having possibly $100 million opening weekend for her movie.
Awesome.
If they can do this type of thing where they don't even they can have digital concerts with somebody who's not even real, and that person gets them the same kind of shine that they got from when they had actual celebrities that were just real people, but without any of the burden that comes from the fallibility that is being human. Like these companies will start being even more risk averse and even more anti-human, I think.
Yeah.
And that's kind of sad and depressing.
Sucks.
When you actually think about it. It's not really all that fun to think about a world where, like, a lot of people love the comeback story. Like, imagine they have to give new Nori her own bad girl phase after being a Disney star.
Yeah.
Right? Like, nobody gets the redemption arc if you never screw up.
Right.
Though I do believe in a lot of cases that, like, we don't value redemption arcs the way we used to. At least the internet doesn't.
Man.
The internet doesn't.
Charlie Sheen is okay. Tony
He let his daughter do OnlyFans with her mom.
I didn't. I tell you, listen.
He didn't let
I was gonna say
mom?
with his mom, there was no letting in that at all. Like if he tried to stop, he would go to jail.
Well, no, he criticized it, and then they basically shamed him. And he's like, "Oh, I was wrong." I just feel like the redemption arc isn't given the love it used to be given. I want Ninori to develop some type of bad habit, a digital bad habit. She can do digital heroin and then get well, I'm not saying this about a real person, so this is okay. And then she can go to digital rehab and record a digital acoustic album.
Did it work for Britney Spears? Was she allowed to have a redemption arc, but it just took too long and people
Free Britney was her
lost interest?
Free Britney was her redemption arc.
You get one chance.
Yeah, one shot, one opportunity. There's a $20 one there from Beanbag Actual.
All right. For the party, have a great Thursday. Brett, Phil, do you think Liberty Safe will go the way of Bud Light or
Yes.
nah?
Yeah, I think that they're gonna have a big problem on them. The gun community doesn't like it. They don't really have an excuse. So I don't see this being a very good thing for Liberty Safe at all.
But Liberty Safe isn't the size of Bud Light. What is the safe equivalent of Bud Light in the safe? Like, is there a safe that's that big? A safe company that's that big?
Well, I don't. What, as Bud Light?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. No, because they're probably manufactured by someone else. There are companies that license them. So Brownells license them, and Field and Streams can license them, and big brands like that will, but they're probably manufactured by someone else.
And what Liberty Safe did was they gave away the passcodes to the FBI, right? Because they were presented with a warrant.
I was talking to Kim this morning
Why
about
do they have the password at all?
Here's the thing. So
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys.
I never know if I should just talk through these or...
Either is okay.
With any safe that you buy, I mean, you can boycott that company, but any safe company has the password to your safe. And I would go so far as to say that if the police come to them with a search warrant, they would have to give up that passcode for legal reasons.
Apple didn't put in a backdoor on the iPhone when they were.
That was a very big deal.
Terrorists or blah blah blah, and Apple didn't cave. So I don't know what the specifics
Apple
are.
would cave now, though. If they were like some Proud Boys, have some phone info we need, Apple would cave like an accordion. All these companies would.
Possibly.
They already are. That's how they're getting all the January 6 people from like Signal
Is
messages.
it from Apple? And was it from Apple, or is it from that's from the ISPs, the providers, all the like Verizon, AT&T, and stuff like that. So I don't know the specifics of it, but I don't know for sure if they actually have to provide, because the FBI or whoever has the warrant that says we get to see what's inside there. They don't have a warrant that says we get to know the code.
So they messed up.
So I think that's a legal distinction. I could be wrong. I'm not saying that, and also anything that anyone brings up, you kind of would have to argue it in front of a judge, so a judge might disagree. But I think the distinction is there is a warrant to see what is inside, but there is not a warrant to know what the passcode is. So the guy would have to let.
Why wouldn't they just like thermal? I guess they're worried about the contents inside the safe. Thermal lance.
I don't know. I mean,
through it.
Well, yeah. I mean, but the thing is, I don't know if they're allowed to destroy property to look in it. Like if they have a warrant, they can kick in your door if you don't let them in, but they can't just go and kick in the door. They have to knock and announce themselves, and you let them in because there's the warrant. You have to let them in. Okay, you let them in. Just like, hey, we have a warrant to see what's inside the safe. Open it. And if the person refuses, then they can take them to jail. But I don't think they can actually go ahead and subpoena the thing from what's it called, unless they get a license, unless they get a warrant for the thing. So
exactly.
I believe the warrant was thrown out later as well.
Oh.
Like a few days later, I read somewhere, I didn't double check it, but I did hear that warrant was thrown out afterwards anyway. So I agree with boycotting that company after what Phil said, because either way, thinking about it, even if they have that warrant, stand your ground and say no and make them take you to court over it.
I mean, you're already in trouble. They're not there for a noise complaint.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, let's go we got some super chats, so let's do those.
Where was I?
Where were we down? We were after Derpalipa. No, we're at Derpalipa, I believe, right here. It says, my advice to the people of Maui, enjoy paradise. I care about your problems as much as you'll care about me shoveling snow in the winter. F off. That's rude. That's rude, bro. Like this, but that's kind of what I'm saying, right? Like a lot of people are so nihilistic nowadays, and they're desensitized to, what's going on in the world, I think.
That was a rough one.
Yeah. I don't.
All right. Next one.
Oh, your house burned down? Suck it.
I disavow.
Disavow. Okay.
That's some rough stuff, man.
I'll pray for you.
Weather's nice. I hate you.
You want me to read the next one?
Yep.
The powers that be will engineer the next calamity in order to herd or farm the populace. That's from Disco Jensen.
Probably. I mean, that's look. We're on what variant 562 of COVID now. Like what COVID variant? COVID variant are we on?
Same as it ever was.
I liked it. I liked it when it was Omicron because it sounded like a transformer.
Yeah, it was fun.
That was the only one I'm in my Omicron era.
Does
right
this
now.
one even? Do they even bother naming him anymore?
Yeah, I think there is a name. I don't know. I don't remember what it is, but I think there is a name for the
big scary variant. The big
Number
scary.
242279883. Next one is AMC pays residuals based on what Netflix paid them.
And that's
I said that earlier.
And that's from Hiroshima Utaro.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. These people are going to have to negotiate better contracts. Yep.
Next one from The Last of My Kind. Snyder JL was at 820M in profit loss. 820 million.
Yeah, Justice. Yeah, but that's not Snyder's fault entirely. Look, there was bad blood and things had gone wrong because Justice League wasn't taken Batman vs Superman wasn't taken the way it was supposed to be, even though it made money. And then he makes Justice League, and then Warner Brothers gets scared and says, we're going to change this because Marvel's doing well and Marvel does its stupid slapstick humor. So, and then Zack Snyder's daughter dies and Warner Brothers replaces him with Joss Whedon. And it goes to crap. There's a really good video from Ethan Van Sciver that he made last week talking about Diane Nelson, who was an executive at Warner Brothers, talking about the debacle that was the Justice League movie. I do recommend going over to his channel and checking that video out. But Warner Brothers they don't have their shit together, and that's the way it is.
Too bad.
Let's do one more.
All right, cool. Heart and Soul 72. Snyder was forced out of Justice League. Josh Whedon, Finn Shohei, that bad cut?
Joss Whedon. I don't know what the Shohei, the bad cut means, but Shohei is unless you're talking about Shohei Ohtani, who's a baseball player for California. But yeah, like he was forced out because they used his daughter's death as like a way to like basically push him out and bring in Joss Whedon because he had to take time off to grieve. And it was very, very sad, that whole thing.
Yeah.
And like 1,000 things went wrong. Originally, Ben Affleck was supposed to write and direct his own Batman movie starring himself, which was essentially going to be an Escape from Arkham movie with Deathstroke, which would have been the coolest thing ever and way better than that Robert Pattinson debacle that we got in 2021. So a lot of missed opportunities from Warner Brothers for a long time. All right, guys, let us move on. Let's talk really quickly about Ruby Frank. This is a very, very, very sad story, and it is a very, very sad commentary on just how desensitized we are to the culture that we're living in. This is a woman who was a family YouTuber. Right? If you guys don't know what family YouTube is, it's channels that are run around, whole families will have a YouTube channel the way a single person has like a YouTube vlog channel. And in a lot of ways, it promotes the worst aspects of society, meaning like it shows everything's puppies and rainbows, everything's great, everything's perfect. Well, we all know that, the internet, and especially not YouTube, is not the real world. And this lady had her channel banned like very recently and eventually taken down. She'd been criticized for being not good to her kids. Her parenting style is not good to her kids. Well, one of her children escaped out of a window, 12 years old, emaciated, dehydrated, malnourished, found a cop, and now she has been arrested on 6 counts of felony child abuse. And I just think it's crazy how there's never going to be ways to like police this or put laws in place for these parents that have channels where they make their kids basically do YouTube videos. Right. And it's scary because we all know that the pageant mom is a trope and a pageant parent. I won't even disregard, all parents who see their kids as think of all the celebrities, the child actors whose parents were ruthless in just making their kid do this stuff only to steal their money. And it's the monstrous side of the internet when you reach fame for something like this only to find out later that person was an absolute monster.
That's scary, man.
Does this surprise you in any way, shape, or form?
I mean, I can't say that it's a surprise. I mean, people have been using their kids to
but there's even less protections in place for kids in these situations. Work protections, meaning that the parents will make all the money. Now there's at least protections for child actors where like they can hold on to their money.
I'm not the kind of like this might be controversial, but I don't think that like kids, if you're like a child, like 8, 9, 10, 11, like kids are in no position to be like, oh, like that's my money and blah blah blah. Like,
right.
I don't like the government being involved between parents and children.
Oh, yeah.
So I understand that the response is gonna be, oh well, you know, parents could take advantage of their children, and you're right, they could, but it is better to risk that than to empower the federal government or a state government to put themselves in between a parent and a child just because the child is doing some kind of creative acting or whatever where they're getting paid.
Yeah.
It has to go to the parents. We've got a lot of things in society right now seem like they're trying to erode the rights of parents over rights with their children compared to the influence the state should have. There's a lot of people there. I see people talking about, oh, we need to end homeschooling because of how many people have started homeschooling in response to COVID and stuff like that. There's a lot of people that are talking about ending homeschooling online. People shouldn't, they say things like people shouldn't have the right to do that. People shouldn't be allowed to do that, and et cetera, which is always what comes from, you know, the kind of authoritarian mindset and stuff. So as much as it is a risk that there will be a child that will be taken advantage of by their parents, it is probably not worth
But if they're making
empowering
the
government.
If they're making the kid do it, doesn't it fall into the category of child labor?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's child labor.
Like it's not through an incorporated company, so there's no laws in place to protect them.
Right.
So child labor conjures ideas of children in minds. It conjures ideas of sweatshops.
Chimney
you know,
sweeps.
exactly. It's all you. As soon as you say child labor, you think of like pictures from the 20s or teens where kids are going to work and blah 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 blah.
When really, it's more like farm
This,
kids.
I mean, this story is more about the abuse of the mom. These kids were malnourished, not fed. They found him with duct tape on his hands, so he was being restrained.
And all those things are abuse and have nothing to do with the actual kid. The concept
Kid
of a
working.
of a child being some kind of actor or some kind of, you know, whatever. So there's
Roblox. Have you heard of Roblox? Roblox is like building video games, and a lot of kids will get onto Roblox and build these video games for like next to nothing. But
we talked about that.
Did you talk about that?
Me and Ian talked about this. One night.
Yeah. He brought that to my attention because that's kind of scary. Like all these kids working for free, and they, you know, make video games.
Pay them in.
Pay them.
Yeah.
Pay them in something.
The money should go to the family. Should go to the parents. And while we're talking about the parents should be legitimately, you know, proper parents and make sure that the children are taken care of and they're saving money for the kid when the kid, you know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's all should stuff, but I understand that these kind of things are.
So it's like at that point, that's when you feel the federal government should be able to step in.
No.
But not solely because, so when it becomes abuse, you still don't think that they should step in?
I think that it should be, at the most, it would be state governments. I don't think the federal government has any right to step in.
Okay, gotcha.
States are completely empowered and capable.
State
and stuff
government.
Like that. So state governments, if the state does, and when it comes to the state stepping in, I'm really, really, really
cautious.
Apprehensive about it. Like really bad, just because of the bad thing. Bad things can happen either way. And if you're like, well, bad things can happen if the state steps in, and bad things can happen if the state doesn't step in. Unless the things that happen when the state does not step in, unless they're really, really, really bad.
Yeah, like in this case.
Yeah, then it must be abuse. Then obviously, if there's abuse, but again, the abuse thing, the states should step in right away because it's abuse, not about the work.
But not because of the work.
So to me, they're two different issues. The abuse is one, and then the working and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're kind of clumping it together because she's a famous influencer mom.
And her sisters are all influencers as well, and basically took the side. They said, look, she deserves to be arrested. They had 6 kids. The daughter, who was 10, was found malnourished at her business partner's house. Her name's Jody Hildebrandt. Both of these ladies have been arrested for this, and it really does make me think of like Tiger Mom, like pageant moms and stuff who have been known to just use their kids. And it's scary because kids are watching this content. Like this, like family YouTube and content with kids is among the most watched stuff on YouTube because the youth are the ones that are watching it, right? So they get this image of what they expect these people to be, but the internet and fame turns people into monsters, and accordingly, it also takes people who were already prone to monstrous behavior worse because it gives them a platform to hide their monstrous behavior
this
for
is
personal
like,
gain.
Yeah, like when my nihilistic side comes out, and I just can't help but think how many monsters there are out there that are making money off of like people's eyeballs being on them, and little do we know this is what's going on behind closed doors. You know, I hope it's not a lot out there, and I hope they continue to be caught, but it's just kind of makes me, I can't help but think how many are there out there like this, you know?
Yeah.
I think the YouTube, like the family YouTube ones are always it's kind of, I keep giving the funny example of the family, of the traveling family channel that I always reference lately with the impossibly hot mom. And I'm just like, and I look at it, I'm like, this is so toxic. Like it just feels toxic. I can't tell you why. Maybe it's just pessimism on my part. But it's like, I look at it and I'm just like all their videos are like, it's like paid promotion with this, paid promotion with this. I'm like, it can't be that simple, right? It's like all this stuff. It just feels like the internet has created a marketplace where there's even less in the way of scrutiny from the public because, look, when people hear the stories about childhood celebrities like a Macaulay Culkin or somebody, or these celebrities who were taken advantage of for their money, or they were abused by Hollywood, you know, that's something that people can put a face to, right? We talk a lot about, like, is Hollywood demonic because of the way, you know, the way that kids are swallowed up by the system, chewed up, spit out, and ruined for life. You know, where does that go when we're in a culture now where your own family can do it without the middleman, and then there's just nothing.
So question, I guess, like for everyone, but also for like specifically for Phil, do you think that Hollywood families, like child actors, do you think there should still be that law or statute where they can't access their money until they're 18? Or do you think that that's an overreach?
Talking about children cannot access
like from what I understand, child actors and like people in the industry, like their parents they can't access their money.
The parents can't, or the child can't?
Oh no, it's the child who can't access the money until they're 18, or is it the
parents can't? It's put into like a trust in some cases.
Right, right.
So, but is the situation neither can access it, neither child nor parent, or only the parent can't?
I thought it was only the parent could, but I might be wrong.
Yeah.
So I can't really answer unless I'm sure.
Yeah.
So if the case is the parents are prevented from accessing it, I don't think that works just because the parents are the actual guardians of the children.
Yeah,
and and that means that the state is stepping in and saying, no, parents, you're not the guardian of the child. We're the guardian of the child because of these financial things.
Yeah.
I have a problem with that because again, the state is the problem.
Also, in this case, the husband, I was like, well, what the hell's the husband doing in all this? Because he's not the one who's getting arrested. They had been split up for 13 months. And he's like, I've never condoned abuse. I'm like, you haven't seen your kids in 13 months? Seen like the duct tape on their wrist from being held against their will?
Yeah.
And it's just scary because there's just such a facade. Like the facade extends far past Hollywood now, and to see this stuff in the wild is scary to me because this story didn't get a whole lot of attention, and I feel like these stories should be highlighted because it's scary.
Yeah.
There was that other super famous YouTube couple where like a video of them arguing in between takes leaked. So seems like a way more common thing than we think. And I think people were accusing the guy of being like verbally abusive or something to the girl. But I mean, it's a private video taken out of context. So I don't know if that is true or how far that goes. But there are a lot of people out there who are making money off of completely false images. Yeah.
Well, but the thing is, like, when you watch something on
YouTube,
even if it's a family, like, assume that what you're watching is still a performance. It's still a character in a way, even if, like, what these people are, like, an actor gets really good at portraying a character authentically. What people do in these situations, I feel like they get very good. They've developed a persona of themselves that's themselves, but not really. And they're very good at imbuing that persona with a good amount of authenticity. And that can be very jarring when you then meet a person in the real world and they're kind of like that, but not really like that. We're in like this weird middle ground now where you're no longer they're not portraying characters. They're just portraying themselves. But
it's more about personality now rather than hating your own.
It's a weird time to be alive.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
It's a weird time to be alive. Like even doing something like this, like I'm a fairly introverted person. Like doing the show is not, I'm authentic. I am who I am. All the stutters tell you that I am who I am. If I was better at this, there would be less ums and ahs.
Yeah.
But the idea is that like you're portraying an aspect of who you are, but you still have to like exude more to do something like this. Otherwise it would be unbelievably boring. Right. So where does the portrayal end and your true your true actual personality come into play?
I mean, in like a normal 2-hour conversation, I'm probably spacing out a lot more than I would in this conversation. I'm actively like paying attention and trying to stay active. It doesn't mean that it's disingenuine. It's just not a good portrayal of who I am 24/7 or anybody.
What?
And a lot of and that ends up being one of those things where then people she was talking, I think. What did you say again? But like people then put a lot on you and they assume that you're like that all the time. And it's not a good idea. It's not a good idea to do that with people that you like, even if they are good people. And it's definitely not a good idea to do that with people like this, where then you're tricked into thinking somebody who's absolutely monstrous is a good person. So
monstrous is a good word.
We'll see where the case goes, but it's very scary to see that this stuff is out there in the world today. So, all right, we got some super chats to finish off the show.
All right, sweet. Let's see. Keep going or just the $20 ones?
We're past all I believe we're past all the $20 ones.
Yep, you're right.
Unless anybody wants to help us get a third crisis.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, Mike Nick said, hope you 4 are having a great day. Thank you, you too.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Disco Jensen, start a charity for me. I'm poor. Oprah, hit me up.
Yes, if Oprah wants to donate money to the Brett Needs Money Fund, I'm completely okay with that. Like that's fine. I know what we should do. We should all send Oprah a message with our just Cash App. Like we actually no we because this is kind of similar. I didn't even think to mention this during the story. We did a topic recently where Allison Stoner, who was she was a Disney or Nickelodeon kid, right? And she went on to be a singer. She I guess people found her Cash App or her Venmo and were just sending her requests for money. I need money for tuition. Give me money. That's kind of where I'm as much as I hate celebrities, there's a lot of fan entitlement with people. There is.
Yeah, I agree.
If you hate celebrities, wait until you meet the fans.
I'm just saying, what is where does it stop, right?
It doesn't. People think that they're oh, you're on the TV, on the screen that I look at, you got to have money. Give me some.
Give me.
So Oprah, if you want to give me money, I know how much you probably love Timcast. I know.
Oh, yeah.
I know. She's a fan.
She's a super chatter.
She's a fan.
All right, Olivia Claire, just here to contribute to another crisis party. Hi, everyone. Hope you're having a great day. Also want to give Cara the appreciation she deserves.
Woohoo!
But
thank you.
Not me or Phil. Let's see.
All for me.
Beanbag Actual says, for the party.
We did that one.
Yes, we did
down
that
to
one.
DC and C.
Oh, I must have skipped a couple. Okay, DC and C. Phil, Hulk Hogan or Ultimate Warrior?
Who do I prefer? Well, I mean, all right. So if you're talking about who I think is cooler, the Ultimate Warrior had a cooler entrance. As much as the Hulkster was iconic and stuff, the Ultimate Warrior was an explosion that blast on the scene, was only there for a little while, and it was chaos, and then he died. Just raging on coke and juice. I don't know if it's a trend or what it was.
No, do you know how? His death is sad. Okay, so he actually came back to WWE to start. He got inducted into the Hall of Fame, and then he came back and did Monday Night Raw the next night after the Hall of Fame for WrestleMania weekend, and he died after the show. Super sad. And he did because he had the thing. He runs to the ring, he gets in the ring, and he shakes the ropes
best.
like that. He
was the guy. I was so when I was a kid, I was so into the Ultimate Warrior. I mean, the Hulkster is awesome, and he's iconic. And I mean, in the Attitude Era, the Hulkster and the Rock and Stone Cold,
Suburban Commando.
It was an amazing time for wrestling. I don't know that I could pick one that I prefer. They're both wonderful.
Tacty Platty, who I believe he's the next super chat. Anyways, we're going to get to that. Yep. He sent me a thing on Twitter earlier that said it was a picture of the old Winged Eagle WWE Championship belt. He said, like, what does this belt make you think of? And he said, the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. That was Bret the Hitman Hart. What it makes me think of, Tacty, is that after WrestleMania 14, when Stone Cold Steve Austin beat Shawn Michaels for the championship, they retired that belt and then got the Big Eagle belt, which I to this day have still held off ordering. I keep thinking about ordering one, but I can't justify it. I bought a Kirby Puckett jersey that I don't need either, but it's always easier to justify buying clothing when it's something you don't need, because there's a practical use for it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I get what you're saying, because if you're buying like belts, like that's like buying like lightsabers, expensive lightsabers.
I don't need it.
They're literally useless. Like it's just something to be like, that's cool.
Exactly.
So I get it.
Yeah.
I feel you.
Actually, what I could do, I wonder if I could put it behind me and then make it a work expense.
You absolutely could.
Let's go!
Do it.
And we're asking forgiveness, not permission on this one. I'm just doing it, and then just submit the cost, baby.
Yeah, right? Do you have a Timcast account? Timcast pizza?
Let's go. All right. Tacty Platty says, "Fear me, bits, Bree."
No, fear me, it's Bree.
Sorry, Bree.
Fear me,
it's Bree show on YT today at 6 p.m. EST.
Yeah. So Fear Me, It's Bree has a podcast, 6 p.m. today, right here on YouTube. But Fear Me Bitch would have been cooler. That's what I thought you were saying. Like, Fear Me Bitch. That'd be a great name.
All right, Disco Jensen says, "Have you seen the human recycler bots yet?"
No.
Oh, God, yeah.
I have not.
I have.
What is that?
So they're tracked vehicles. They're about the size of a small Beetle, like maybe a really, really compact car, like a Lee car or whatever, like something like that. And they've got like there's like an angle so they can go ahead and literally just pick up a body. It's got a conveyor belt, and apparently it can pick up bodies and compost them or whatever.
Oh my word.
Yeah.
That sounds great. Actually, you know what I would like? You know, another thing I might want to invest in. This is completely an aside to the previous super chat. Do you remember the little stuffed like the little pro wrestler pillows that were like shaped like Bret Hart? Or maybe I'll buy one of those.
Do it.
Maybe I'll buy one of those, because I never
get the belt, Bret. We know you want the belt. Treat yourself.
I do want the treat yourself.
Treat yourself. All right, Mega Doo 97. Yes. Howdy, y'all. I'm coming in late, but did you guys hear that they're already trying to slander the singer of Smash Mouth as a Yahtzee?
Yeah.
What?
So he had like an incident at like a fair or something where apparently he gave a specific salute, and they're saying that he was drunk when this was happening. And let me look it up. It was I saw this. It was on news. This was on news.
I am begging the internet to understand that Nazism and National Socialism is a whole ass philosophy. It's not a hand sign you can give just to get people pissed off.
Yeah, right here.
Good Lord.
Steve Harwell's Nazi controversy resurfaces after death. So here's what it says. Steve Harwell's controversial. I love how this was like hours. Body isn't even cold yet, scumbags.
Awful.
Steve Harwell's controversial past has resurfaced after the Smash Mouth singer passed away on Monday. Harwell, who fronted the band known for All Star and their cover of the Monkees' "I'm a Believer," died of acute liver failure. His son died in like 2001. Basically, it's like the saddest thing ever. It says Harwell seemed to give a Nazi salute at a 2021 show in upstate New York, where he drew the ire of the crowd. The band were performing at Beer Festival, the Big Sip in Bethel, New York, where along with the salute, people claimed Harwell was slurring his words and became volatile. Well, it was Beer Festival. Like, give the guy a break. He says, "I'll effing kill." I'm not saying that. I swear to God. He told one person in the crowd. One TikTok user described the performance as the most chaotic show I've ever seen in my entire life. You guys couldn't have waited a week? Like a week?
He got drunk and did something stupid. Yeah. It's not like he's not a Nazi. God, everyone is so
And this was in 2020?
2021.
Literally, what does that have to do with anything right now? It's September 6th, 2023. The man died. Let him rest.
It's just someone could talk about it and get some attention for themselves.
Right.
It's just
Shame on that
disgusting.
person.
And then there's one more there that just came through from DC&C.
I do not. Oh, there it is. All right. Brett needs a handful of action figures in front of him.
I was never a big action figure guy. I don't do Legos and I don't do action figures. So again, like I said yesterday, I am not a geek nor a nerd, nor do I attempt to claim the credibility of those things. Those are separate things for people who are very, very knowledgeable. I am not that. So, all right, guys. Before we go, would you hit the like button on this video? Would you subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already? Share these shows with your friends. That is how I'm Oprah now. I'm Oprah and The Rock asking you, could you share these shows with your friends? It's the best way to get this show out there for other people so new people can come in and hang out with us and yell at us on our takes on celebrities. So, all right, guys. Cara, where can they find you?
You can find me at members@timcast.com. The emails are down at the moment, but we should have them back up ASAP.
You ever just get people like wanting to talk?
Yeah, some people just write and say hi. I hope this is Cara.
It makes me think it's like this. It is a thing. Like if you ever worked retail, like
I did.
You did, right? So it's like you work retail. Some like especially older people, they just want to talk.
Yeah,
they just want to hang out.
Yeah.
And I read an article recently where like and of course it's not in America. Like some grocery store started like a slow line where you go through where like old people can go through and the cashier is basically there to just like slowly scan your groceries and talk to you about your day.
Yeah,
that is so
I love
nice.
that. It's very pro-human, pro-social. I like that a lot.
good.
I take the negative approach in this. Yes, it is. But whenever they make these articles, they make a point of saying it's not in America. So it's like, look how much better the rest of the world is than the United States.
Where is it happening?
I don't remember where it was, what country it was in. That's not, it's not important. I'm from America.
Japan. Japan's got a lot of old people too. They got a very old society, and it sounds very Japanese.
All right. And Disco Jensen, he wanted to remind me to end the poll, which I will do right now. So let's see what the vote comes out to. Here it is. Who is the most insufferable? Well, with 60% of the vote, ladies and gentlemen, they say the actors are the most insufferable, with the writers coming in at 26% and the studios 13%. Thoughts?
I agree.
The studios are like, look, we're scamming you out of millions of dollars, but that's what it takes to deal with you insufferable pricks. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. DC&C also says, poll, the most insufferable isn't here today. That's very rude. That's not nice. So, yeah. All right, guys. So, Phil, where can they find you?
I am Phil That Remains on Twitter or X, Twix, whatever you want to call it. I'm Phil That Remains Official on Instagram. The band is All That Remains. You can follow us on Spotify and Pandora and YouTube and Amazon Music and Apple Music and, you know, the internet.
The internets. There's one more there from Derpalipa.
Are latex dolls for adults action figures?
That's up to you, man.
I mean, I've heard it called action.
It's certainly a type of action.
It is.
It's certainly a type of action.
Certainly.
All right, Sarah, where can they find you?
You can find us at castbrew.com. On X or Twitter, we are Castbrew Coffee. On Instagram, we are Castbrew_coffee. We just shot another commercial today. It should be out hopefully in a couple weeks once it's done being edited and everything. And buy our coffee. Muchas gracias.
All right. Guys, if you want to follow me, you can follow me on Twitter/X and Instagram at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. This show is here Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. I almost forgot that one right there. I was like, what is the time difference between noon in Pacific Standard Time? And then if you want to follow the show on social media, we are on Twitter at popculture_show, Facebook and TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. We'll be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then, guys.
Bye.
Bye.